Three Grots and a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about Tactical Marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
It would help if I unmute the microphone. Hello.
Unmute the microphone. Yeah, awesome.
Can you hear us? We have 11 people in the house already. Of course.
Hopefully somebody's
hopefully somebody can hear us.
Paying attention enough to tell us they can hear us, or not, as the case may be.
All right. And my little alert says that nobody is watching. Of course, anytime I try and do anything different, something fails to work properly. It wouldn't be one of my streams without. So, we're going to be joined in a few minutes by Tony, I think. We think.
The definition of a few minutes might be generous, depending on how long it takes him to finish dealing with his family, TM. I can see comments saying that people can hear us. That's a good start.
All right, great. Who is here?
Tom Johnson is here. Fat Man's Kitchen is here.
Okay. Hello, Tom. Hello, Fat Man's Kitchen. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be painting. Mark is thinking about doing something.
I might build a model or get started on building a model, which is more Warhammer than I've done in probably the last 18 months. So,
has it been that long that you've been?
Oh God, what was the last thing I did? But November last year, to be fair, was the last thing I did, which was the doubles event with Tony and James Gibb and his Bristol crew up in Birmingham, which was fun. So that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, I suppose.
Yeah, so you did something.
Yeah, I had to prepare a little bit for that doubles. Finish painting a few things. That's when I got my Dante finished and done.
All right.
Yeah, it was a good thing. We're planning on going to another doubles event in April. There's a charity doubles one-day thing being hosted at Element Games in Stockport at their big, huge gaming centre with a massive store full of all the hobby things in the world, which is going to make Tony's jaw drop clean off his face and hit the floor as he tries to resist spending all the money in the world because it's amazingly decked out. And it has a bar, which is even better. And I went to one of their charity events last year, I think it was, when they did a charity event for Star Wars Unlimited. And they just got loads of prizes in, loads of people donating stuff. Everything was for a charity of, I think, military veterans and other people who use Warhammer and other miniatures painting as a sort of a therapeutic thing, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was good to support that. And yeah, it was good.
So I've been on a bit of an Ultra Marines crusade.
Yeah, what's this all about? Did someone do well at a tournament with Gilliman or something?
Apparently Google Meeting is trying to blur my background for some reason.
Yeah, okay. It is blurring your background. It's not trying to, it is.
It is blurring my background. God damn it. There's always something.
Hello, check. Hello, Dr. Akulushka. I'm going to take my time trying to pronounce that correctly and not say it wrongly. Fat Man's Kitchen is making a great unclean one out of scratch because he doesn't want to spend time painting. How do you make a great unclean one out of scratch? Do you just get a giant pile of foam and then just carve bits off it, then sneeze all over it and just get the little dripping bits right, and then, I don't know, spray it in sealant or something? That might be how you do it. Hey, Foz.
Okay.
There you go. You have
unblurred the background. So we've got here. I've got Gilliman. Sorry, this isn't Gilliman. This is Tigris. So he's converted to Blood Angels, as in I got rid of all his U's.
Tigris is always a badass.
His profile in 10th edition is bonkers actually. He came out this week. He did 11 attacks, strength 6, AP 2 damage, 18 inches.
The last time I thought about taking Tigurius, he was psychic powers were randomized from like 2 or 3 different tables, and he was like the only psychic who could choose which psychic power he took or something.
Oh, that's
Which
a
is
long
why
time
Josh
ago.
Roberts
Yeah, I
always ran
remember
him.
that. So I've got him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play Stormlance, really. So he has been attached to 10 Sternguard veterans in Stormlance.
Stormlance? Why Stormlance?
Because if you're playing Ultramarines, your whole army gets advanced and charge, and that's pretty useful when you have a Primarch.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I finally bought Gilliman. This is a Dark Angel's head on at the moment. I can't decide if I like it or if I'm going to change it.
It's not bad. There's that famous picture of Blood Angel artwork where you got the Sanguinius helmet where the wing goes up like huge and really, really tall and high. That was a kind of cool piece of artwork.
So I'm trying to get.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I'm trying to get another 3D printed shoulder pad because I last night I filed his knee pad because he had a U on his knee pad.
Yeah.
And while I was filing it off, Marius was like, "I'm unsubscribing from your channel because I'm an Ultramarines player and this is heresy." And I was like,
"Yeah, how very dare you!" Awesome. Apparently, you make a scratch-built Great Unclean one from plastic junk, tin foil, milliput, green stuff, and bits. Oh, Marius is in chat. He's already unhappy with you.
He's already unhappy. Marius, you should be happy. Look who's in his cell. Luke.
They appear to be unspoiled.
These guys are, they are unspoiled, but I am going to convert the Victrix Guard from Victrix Guard into Blade Guard, to be honest with you. I've already got some Blood Angel shields, so they're getting converted as well.
I always found the best Blood Angel shields, or Storm shields at least, to be the ones you got in the Assault Terminators, the Blood Angel Assault Terminators. They're always quite good.
They are very cool. I like the Crimson Paladin ones as well.
Yeah, they're very nice. Although they're like 70 quid for 5 freaking models or something stupid.
I found a website selling just the shields. It might have even been on eBay. So someone was like 3D printing the Crimson Paladin shields.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I have 5 of them, and I plan to use them on these Victrix Guard.
Cool.
So
Dr. Akalushka is on the crusade to play new Space Wolves, but they're going to be Blood Wolves. So.
Blood Wolves, I like it. Yeah.
Sure, fair enough. I mean, vampires riding werewolves. That's the sort of thing you could do for... Oh, man, you got to lean into that vampires riding werewolves aesthetic for your Thunderwolf cav. That would be awesome. You could do that. You could do all the armor as if it's like Dracula armor or something. Really, really dark, bloody... Ooh, yeah. That could be a look. I like the idea of that.
I actually think that sounds pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... I'm going to sell that Elder Army I got. I'm going to.
Have you done anything with it since you bought it?
Nothing. I bought 5. What were they called? 5 Warp Spiders and the Warp Spider Exarch, or not the Exarch, the Phoenix Lord.
Phoenix Lord. Yeah.
I made them.
Yeah.
They were a nightmare to put together, and it sapped all my motivation for Eldar. I guess
that's
honestly.
Fair enough. They were fiddly as fuck. I do agree. Hello, Tony.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing, brother?
I can see a small. What the hell? It looks like a.
It's a painting
table.
I haven't got the camera and that set up yet. I was just sort of trying to get online.
That's for your pot of water. What the hell is that?
It's like a rubber.
For brushing your brush against.
Your brush on.
Yeah. It looks like the mouth of a sea beast. It looks like the Kraken's mouth down there.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Is that so you can clean the brush while you're rinsing it or something?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like a textured surface to rub the brush against. Yeah, it makes a bit of sense.
Tony always is
like it wants to eat Johnny Depp, but you know.
Gonna say he's the most professional of the 3 of us when it comes to painting, isn't he?
Well, you know, by a country fucking mile, absolutely. Good God.
If I'd say professional was the right term.
I would.
Most seriously out of all of us, certainly.
I think professional is a fair term for your painting.
Man who treats it most like an art out of us.
Yeah.
Well, I think the difference is, you see, that for me, the painting is the most important part of the hobby.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it is a hobby. It's something that I do for fun.
Absolutely.
But I have a lot more fun painting up armies and building armies and actually writing lists and stuff than I do necessarily playing with them.
Yeah. I agree with that.
The glory of the hobby. There's many facets to it.
Yeah.
I think that's just because you can drink beer while you're doing that. Let's be real here. Come on. There's no other reason except you can get a pint, and you're like, "This is my favourite part of this hobby."
Yeah, well, partially anyway. You can't drink and play good Warhammer.
Oh, fine, fuck it. I'm going to pour myself something as well. What should I have? Should I go for mead or should I go for whiskey?
I don't know of what.
Let's
What do you normally
compromise.
drink on a school night?
Go for a honey whiskey. Let's compromise.
Well, I would always suggest whiskey because
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I've got the last dregs of a bottle of the honey whiskey here from a brand called Beeble.
Beeble.
Beeble. It's all bee friendly and stuff. So Beeble.
Beeble and Butthead.
Oh right, yeah.
No, not quite Beeble and Butthead, but hey.
Well, I would always suggest whiskey. Why have we got? I know this is an important question. The dreadful AI-generated version of our logo, rather than the admittedly not great one that I coloured.
The hand drawn and coloured one
by hand, yeah.
Because we left John to do all of the planning and preparation and making it all work, practicality stuff. So,
right, okay, yeah.
John did John things.
John was rushing, to be completely honest with you.
We've had a compliment on the AI generated new logo, however, which came from Foss. So
is that because he didn't realise that it was AI generated?
100%, yes, 100%.
Said anything about it before now.
We hadn't mentioned it. I was hoping it would slide under the radar and you guys wouldn't realise that
I saw it was there on the loading screen.
I had to make a thumbnail. I didn't have anything super unique. I didn't know what you were painting, to be fair, so I couldn't put a photo of what you were painting. So I just had to come up with something.
Foz is right. Blood Bowl is one of the greatest of games. It has the spirit, it has the fun, it has the competition. You don't have to paint fuckloads of models for it. It's great.
It's got all the things that people miss from 40k.
Yeah. John should play Blood Bowl. We should introduce.
I just sold Blood Bowl, man.
What?
Yeah, but you sold like a very early.
Yeah, second edition.
Also second edition.
No, so going forward, then. I'm ditching the Eldar completely from my channel, and I'm going to be embracing playing more than just Blood Angels, but just Space Marines factions, because I feel like I have time to do that, right? Like it's for example, like
as long as they're red, it doesn't really matter.
Right. Well, I've got to ask the important question, John. Does it count as ditching the Eldar if you've never actually played with the Eldar?
Well, he paid for them, so there's a level of commitment there.
How many did you actually paint in the end?
None. I didn't finish any of them.
They all came painted. He built some, but then didn't paint any.
I put base coats on like 2 of them. I think what clued me into it was at 6 months, right? And in 6 months' time, like my desk right now is just like, I've got 10 Assault Intercessors, I've got 10 Stern Guard, I've got Tigris, I've got Guilliman.
Yeah.
That doesn't even scratch the surface. Like I could literally take a week off of work and just paint the entire week.
Yeah.
And that still doesn't scratch the surface of what I'm doing with Blood Angels. So what the fuck am I going to do with this Eldar? Like, why do I even have them, right? Like, it's just not feasible for me.
You wanted to entertain the fiction that you could one day be more than a one-dimensional Blood Angel fan.
And I'm going to be by playing Stormlance.
Fair enough.
And do you know what? I think part of it might have been Stormlance has been so refreshing. Because it's so different from Blood Angels, right? Like I'm playing a Storm Raven, I'm playing double Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Oh, man, Storm Ravens. God.
I'm
putting Storm Raven on the table in years.
Well, exactly. I haven't put my Storm Raven on the table for like 20 years, and I've got 10 Hellblasters inside it, which is fun as hell. They're so stupid. Like last week, 3 of them died. When they died, they all shot. And they finished off the unit that I needed them to finish killing with the shooting on death. And the stratagem, the way it works for Stormlance, is it lasts to the end of the phase. So even when they're dying, they're still getting sustained hits. It's brilliant.
So how many games you played Stormlance then so far?
2.
In the last, couple of weeks?
Like in the last 3 weeks I played 2 games. I had to cancel this week's game, but I was actually going to play Blood Angels this week because of the new points drops.
Yeah.
and I've built a list which I want to play for Blood Angels. But Stormlance is so different; it's so refreshing.
You happy with the additional mobility at the cost of punch?
Well, Stormlance essentially is a shooting army, right? Like it's Hellblasters, it's Sternguard, it's Storm Ravens. Yeah, I mean you don't have much punch in melee, but I don't think it really matters because
You're using the maneuverability to get into better shooting positions. Yeah, that's
yeah. So it's been fun. It's been a change and it's been fun. So
cool.
What they say, a change is as good as a rest.
Tony painting World Eaters, I'm guessing.
Yep. So this is the second part of the video that is taking me bloody ages to do.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, what I wanted to do was make the video sort of like, so the first half of it is kind of coming up with a painting plan and doing test models to work out how it's going to look.
Uh-huh.
And then the second part of it was me actually putting that paint plan into place.
Right.
So I've worked out my test models and now I'm going to actually paint some stuff with it. But the problem was that I really didn't consider the fact that takes fucking ages. So I got the test models done. I've worked out the full painting plan and things like that. And then I've really struggled to find enough time to actually paint the rest of that particular unit with that new scheme. And there's still tweaks to do because the whole idea with the series is I'm trying to make it realistic.
Yeah.
Because you watch like a lot of YouTube videos and they're like, I decided to paint 1,000 points in one weekend. And you think, right, okay, well, how are you doing that with a full-time job and a toddler? Oh, wait, you're not. It doesn't work like
magic of the movies. Oh, speaking about the magic of the movies, have you seen the new movie trailer and announcement that's just come about in the last couple of hours?
You've got to give me more to go on than that.
So there's this big, stupid trailer about how in the last 38 years there's been like 3 Star Wars trilogies and a whole bunch of other shit going on, but there's only ever been one Spaceballs movie until now.
Spaceballs 2?
Spaceballs 2 has been announced.
Oh, that'd be cool.
They've written it, they've secured funding, it's going into production, it'll be out in 2027, and they've confirmed they've signed Rick Moranis to return as whatever
Dark Helmet
was. Yeah.
So
I did a little bit of looking into Rick Moranis as well because he like disappeared off the cinema screens completely a number of years ago, and it's because he got married, had a kid, his wife died after 5 years, and he basically went, I can't do movies and look after my kids, so he look after his kids.
You can't blame someone for that, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
So who's directing it?
I don't know. That's more details than I looked up. Give me a second, I'll find out.
Well, you know, the original, of course, was a Mel Brooks classic.
Mel Brooks returns for Spaceballs sequel directed by Josh Greenbaum. Bill Pullman's returning for it as well, apparently.
Well, that'd be cool.
Do we need to comb the desert?
It's been a long time since I watched it, mate. I'm not going to get all the references.
Oh, there was the bit where the 2 stormtroopers were standing in the desert with a big comb, and they were like, "Wait, down, shit."
Fair enough. Hey, Alex.
Hello, Alex. Good evening. I can't believe they got Spaceballs. I thought you were going to announce something about Star Wars, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, it is kind of, but no.
I was going to be like, I don't know if I care. Like, if there's a new Star Wars trilogy announced, I don't know if I care. Like, I really enjoyed Andor.
I've been more excited by Spaceballs the movie too.
Yeah.
Than a new Star Wars at this point by a long way.
Well, have I got news for you then? Oh, fucking Christ! This new Naked Gun movie's out in a couple of months as well. That was, man.
Isn't the lead actor dead?
It's Liam Neeson that's going to be the Naked Gun,
and he's playing Frank Drabin's son.
Right.
And the trailer for it is absolutely ridiculous bullshit. It's very, very silly.
I mean, it needs to be to.
I'm not. No, I'm not going to say what's in it. If anybody's interested, you can go and watch the trailer. Take a couple of minutes of your life, and you'll either laugh and go, "I want to see that," or you'll go, "What the actual fuck?"
So, have you guys both watched Andor now, then, or what?
Nope.
Yep. I finished Andor the day the finale appeared, and then I watched Rogue One the day after, and it was great.
Did you?
And then I watched episode 4 the day after that, and it was weird. It was really, really weird.
I finally started watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
What do you think?
I'm enjoying. I'm only a couple of episodes in, but I've enjoyed them both.
Yeah, I watched it
liked
with
it.
Kath after we finished Andor, and she enjoyed it.
The only thing I thought there's a couple of minutes I thought a bit silly. There's a bit in the first episode with Princess Leia running away from like people trying to kidnap her, and it's like some sort of like Carry On movie almost. You know, like you get like the person runs past and like all the people chase after, but have no possible chance of catching.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sort of the music that was playing in my head because it's like they'll stop and then start doing a little dance because there's a small branch in the way or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit was quite ridiculous. Yeah,
And it was just like, what the fuck am I just watching? That's the tone is just shifting into some like weird 80s silliness, and then it goes back to normal and is good again.
Yeah.
Just that whole sequence was bananas.
It was a bit weird. You're not wrong.
I had the music from that dance club bit. Foz was saying the Andor music, the dance music from the wedding or whatnot. I had that in my head for like 2 or 3 days, honestly. Like, I could just play that in my car when I'm driving around, honestly.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, it's a good series.
I don't particularly like the seventh sister or whatever her name is.
Oh, her, yeah.
She's quite unlikable.
There's a reason for that.
I'm sure
which
there
I'm
is.
not going to say any more of because obviously she's a critical part of the series. But yeah.
Yeah. But you know, when you're like, I find you quite annoying. Because my sort of like.
Yeah.
How old is Mel Brooks now?
Getting on a bit. Oh, I bought some things from the expo in order to, well, frankly, to resell them on eBay and try and make some more money off them. And I'm going to try and do that at some later point and do so. But one of the things I got was a new box of Shatterpoint models, Star Wars Shatterpoint models.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't opened it. And it is a convention exclusive pack featuring Ahsoka and Vader from the bit in the Rebels TV series where they face off against each other in that little sort of Sith underground thing. And you got this whole scenery diorama stuff going on for it, which I'm just showing you in the camera now if you're even vaguely interested. And the Ahsoka and the Vader models are going to be released later for purchase separately. But this convention exclusive pack is the only way to get the whole scenery diorama thing that is with it.
Cool.
So
you're not tempted to have it painted up and put on the shelf because I know you're a big fan of that TV show.
I'm very tempted.
So hold on, what? So that's just the scenery, or it's not the characters?
The characters are in here as well. You got the 2 characters, you got the rules cards for them, and the scenery is all in here in this one big convention exclusive box, which costs about £100.
So what are you waiting on? Sorry.
Me deciding whether I actually want to open it and build it and paint it myself or resell it.
Oh, I see. I'm
try
with
and
you.
make a profit.
That's like one of my favorite episodes of Star Wars Rebels. Honestly,
it was a great episode.
Or you could get it painted.
Yeah, or you could get it painted.
I could. I suppose.
If you just wanted the diorama because you think it's cool and it'd look good on your shelf, as a bit of a centerpiece, it's a bit special.
You know,
it'd be a pretty unique thing to have, and that's always the option.
To me at all, to be honest, I could do
Sorry?
that. Yeah. That hadn't occurred to me, even considering that. Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it for you, but you'll have to wait a long while because I'm too slow. So as long as you're not in a hurry, I'll do it for you.
Fair enough.
I'll
think about it.
That's the episode where Darth Maul. Well, spoiler if you haven't seen Rebels, by the way, you're only like 8 years too late or something.
Yeah.
That's the episode where Darth Maul is trying to make Ezra's apprentice, isn't it?
I can't remember, but that sort of stuff was definitely going on around that time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very cool because he's like he comes in on that episode and you kind of know it's him because he's wearing a cloak, but like he doesn't give his self away. He's like walking with a walking stick, and then like halfway through when he has to do something, I think he like the walking stick becomes his lightsaber, and you're like, holy shit, it's Darth Maul.
Foz has noticed the poster in my background. I've got to get around to getting a frame for it and putting it up at some point because you're right, it's an awesome poster.
What, Return of the Jedi one?
Yeah.
it's an absolute classic, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Beautiful art.
I'm having real fun playing my current deck as well in Star Wars Unlimited, which is the Luke pilot deck, mono red with Tarkin Town and a whole load of space fighters and a whole load of nothing else.
I love that. That's a very me deck.
Is it like if the enemy has land units, you just lose?
No, if the enemy has land units, I completely ignore them, and I've got a load of on attack effects that do damage across the board. So
I see.
I maintain control while just slamming you in space, basically.
Is that the one you went 5 and 2 with, or is that a different
That's the
deck?
one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
You think it could have done better, or
somebody did do better with it. It wasn't the exact same deck, but somebody placed top 8 with it,
Okay.
which means they went 6 and 1 at the very least with a version of this deck. So it's got potential.
Do you know what I think could have been done better?
Go on.
They could have put less fucking trim on this model.
Isn't trim on the model just like the way of things though these days?
Well, fucking Cal Space Marines. See, this is what puts you off. Like, I'm still on the first guy, and all I'm doing is painting bits that are going to be different colours later on, black. And it is mind-numbingly boring. It takes fucking out. Right, this stage of blacking bits out takes longer than the rest of the model combined.
Well, this is you're suffering for your art, aren't you? I suppose.
Suffering because, yeah, I don't know.
We were talking a little bit last night about like the Ballistus Dreadnought, or sorry, the Brutalis Dreadnought being like 115 pieces, and I was like, I've got one. I never want to make another one, even though I've got another one.
Yeah.
And then most people in chat were the same. They're like, oh god, I hated the Brutalis Dreadnought. And then Marius was like, I love that model. And I was like...
Well, some people really enjoy the building stage of things.
Yeah.
I'm just not one of them.
No, I'm not one of them either.
Normally I do, but a lot of the models lately appear to take it to like ridiculous lengths. Inceptors, for example, they were a fucking nightmare.
There's no reason for them to be in so many pieces.
Yeah. I respect and I appreciate that Workshop have taken such lengths to go to so that mold lines aren't a thing on models these days because they're artfully concealed underneath other pieces or in edges of the bits and so forth. But
sanding sticks.
Yeah.
You know, very easy to remove a mold line unless it's on like a ridged bit, but yeah.
No, I hear you. So I was saying, like, I really didn't enjoy the Brutalis Dreadnought. I think it's too many pieces. And then Andonius was like, I have 2 more unbuilt. I just gave one to my friend and was like, enjoy.
Wow. I've got 2 unbuilt Brutalis Dreadnoughts.
Marius
every time I look at them, I go, I can't be dealing with that.
Marius says he enjoys the Redemptor chassis. He's got 8 of them now. You'll have to tell us which 8 you've got, Marius, because I want to know what the breakdown is there. And how many of them are ballistas? Because those things are easy mode compared to most of the Redemptor chassis because they're just easy to build.
The ballistas was golden. It's like I built 2 of them in an hour. I loved it.
I'll tell you what kits I have been really impressed with, and every one of the set I've built, it's been the Heresy kits.
Yeah.
So all the Heresy vehicles and that I've built, the new 2nd edition Heresy plastic vehicles have just been so much better than any of the 40k models I've built in years. And even like the infantry with the they're still proper multi-part infantry that you can pose and weapon swap like that. And they're the same. They just go together really nicely. They're well thought out. You've got nice posability on it. They're just better than the 40k equivalent at the moment. You know, I was talking to people the other day and they were talking about rhinos. Because of course, all of the Cal Space Marines use rhinos, and I was saying, I was like, buy the Heresy kit.
They're the same price, but better. Yeah.
They're the same price, but the model kit is just better.
Yeah.
And the same with the Land Raider. The Proteus Land Raider is just a better kit.
Yeah, I do
like
want to
the
get those
build,
at some point. Just
goes together better.
Marius says he's got 3 Redemptus, 3 Ballistus, and 2 Brutalis. Alex, I'm going to try and read out what you've put here, so just for John's benefit. And if I get the intonation wrong, you'll have to let me know. But I'm going to try and do it justice. Thanks, John. I have 5 Brutalis dreads. I'm so looking forward to it.
Well, fortunately, you can only put 3 in your list, so you may as well just give 2 to your friend.
You can.
No, you can do
3 is
dreads,
Brutalis and 2 is Company.
3 Brutalis, 3 DC dreads.
Yeah. God.
But you could.
You couldn't pay me to build 5 Brutalis dreadnoughts, I swear to you.
You could pay me, if I'm honest. I mean, I don't like building them that much. It's like I hate painting this trim, but I'm still doing it, and I'm doing it because I need it for the video. Otherwise, I would have already gone, do you know what, fuck it, I'm buying the Heresy models. I'm getting a packet of close combat weapons because the Heresy models don't have trim.
Oh man, I eBayed the Heresy rulebook from the other edition. I've like opened it once to look at it. I haven't done anything with it since, and it's going to go in the bin very soon because new one.
I said that to James Gibb. We talked about the new edition, and I was like, it doesn't really good, but I've got the box for the last new edition, and apart from I took the Contemptor out of it, built it but never painted it, I really haven't done anything else.
But to be fair, that means you've got basically a Heresy army ready to go, which is nice. I don't think I'm going to buy the new box. I'm going to eBay the rulebook, and I'm going to get hold of 3 of the new Saturnine Dreadnoughts because they look cool and they appeal to my old school Space Hulk ways, and I love the Fifth Element movie, and they look like the things out of that. So I'll get some of them.
Yeah, I thought that the new Terminators and the new Dreadnought looks awesome. As someone who has literally no interest in Heresy, I was still like, man, those things look cool.
Yeah,
I do like the idea of Heresy, and I'm going to paint all those ones that I've got, and I'm going to do a lot of them as Blood Angels because I've got so many Heresy vehicles already that are now legends in 40k. All those Contemptors and
makes perfect sense.
I've got
that's true.
Arans and laser destroyers and whatnot. So I've got the bulk of an army already.
Are Terrax siege drills part of Heresy?
Probably.
Well, I probably have a lot because I've got super heavy tanks, like you said. I've got Leviathan dreadnoughts, Contemptor dreadnoughts.
More Space Marines. You've probably got a Heresy army already. You just need to.
Your Falchion is half a Heresy army. There you go.
I never even thought of that. Yeah, I probably actually have enough to field Heresy army.
Dude, if you want to do a Heresy army, that's the perfect excuse to get a bloody Sanguinius model. Sanguinius himself.
I mean,
it's a point. It's why I'm thinking about doing it that way because it's actually we've already got the models, we've already got the army. So all I'm doing is playing a new game system with models I already own.
Cambo asks, "What are you guys working on tonight?" Looks like a Chaos Cultist. It's not. It's a World Eater that Tony's working on, and I'm guessing John is doing the Stern Guard. He hasn't mentioned me because I'm not doing anything, which is fair.
Yeah, I'm jumping between Assault Intercessor, Stern Guard, Tigris, bit of everything. I guess just base colors, man. Even Campbell
of doing something Warhammer related. I'm gonna crack this box of chapter-approved mission deck cards, which has still got the seal on the front. I haven't even looked at them yet.
Oh, cool. I haven't looked at mine either.
And I don't know.
This is what I'm building. Eventually, they'll look like this. I get it to focus.
I'm going to need to take my last set of chapter-approved cards out of the sleeves that I put them all in and put the new ones in there instead.
Oh, I don't bother putting them in sleeves. They only last a year, man.
Yeah, it just felt nicer to shuffle them and deal with them. It does make them a bugger to carry because you can't fit the whole set of them in the box they come in, though, which is a bit annoying.
Good evening, Aradine. Aradine says, I love the new channel artwork.
Hey, Aradine.
It's AI generated, and we're not encouraging this shit.
Tony feels a little bit more strongly about it than I do, but I do appreciate...
only because I had a hand in making the original one, and I know the artist that also made the original artwork.
Yeah, I do appreciate the whole genuine artists making stuff rather than AI artists. It's all right, Cambo. I'm literally not doing fuck all Warhammer related, so it's all fine, mate.
I literally only just did a favour to get them to do that design for us.
I finally got this. I was able to pick this up last week.
Fugan.
Do you know when I placed my pre-order for this little fucker?
Probably the day pre-orders opened.
Yeah, that was on the 1st of February.
Jesus Christ.
Was that Element Games again?
No, it's the local FFG. You know the store that we did the doubles at?
Yes.
That store.
All right.
Their first shipment turned up. Half of it was damaged and broken to fuck because of the couriers apparently are just like not taking any care whatsoever with stuff. And then with Eldar being popular, all the stuff sold out, and he finally was able to get some more. So it took that long.
My dandy took that long, like 6 months or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
It's a cool model, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it just annoys me because all of this goes towards encouraging you to order off GW, who will have the stock on day one, and it will be in good condition. It will just make them more money and screw over the local gaming store.
I'm trying to not be like that. So unless it's something I really need for the channel. So I wanted the World Eaters Codex because I'm trying to make these stupid videos.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just trying to get into the kind of opinion of, well, I'll play with it when it arrives, because half the time these things sit on my painting pile for 6 months anyway. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have 6 months longer to look at the box.
Foz, time to commute home. I'm still listening along, but no more chatting. It's just not good enough.
Now, when are you actually going to paint that model, Mark?
Probably never.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter that it took a bit of
So
while.
hold on. So do you want me to just send you my Eldar then, and then you'll have painted Eldar?
No, it's all right, thanks. I appreciate the sentiment and the idea, but no, I'll paint them at some point.
So, look, nobody wants to play. No one wants to play Eldar. No one wants to paint them. You know, it's just that. It's just Eldar.
I do know they're one of those armies that have a really dedicated fan base.
I love the idea of all the aspects more than anything
I'd love
else.
to sit there and paint all the different, like one squad, 5 models, really take my time and just do a beautiful colour scheme. None of this fucking batch painting bollocks.
The problem with the attitude towards them, though, is that they're played extremely well by a local player that I have here who's a very skilled player and loves to win. And he plays everything min-max to the absolute hilt.
Yeah.
And he does also love for the fluff of the story and of them. He's been collecting Eldar for donkey's years. He plays loads of Apocalypse.
They just have a reputation of attracting that sort of player, don't they?
They do, don't they? Yeah.
Which is sad because I like them. To me, the kind of the core classic armies are what I want to see more of. You know, I love playing orcs.
Space elves, space dwarves, space orcs, and humans. There you go. That's
and when you have that kind of game where you're just like playing Green Tide and you're gunning down loads of orcs and they're overrunning your lines, and it's just so cool. And Eldar are bouncing around like.
You want to see what's inside it? I'll show you what's inside it. There you go. A bunch of cards. That's what's inside it.
No, I get you. I feel happy. I feel motivated
and some objective tokens, just like the last few sets.
Do you know why I think I feel motivated about my Stormlands list? Is like Stormraven. I can't play that for Blood Angels. Hellblasters. I feel like I can't play that for Blood Angels.
Why is Stormraven good in Stormlands, mate? Remind me.
Because if it's within 12 inches of Guilliman, which you always want it to be, you can make it -1 to hit, -1 to wound, -1 damage, and then you also have the ability to Armor of Contempt it, and you can do the first 3 for no CP.
The problem with the Stormraven that I came across back when this whole edition first launched is that it's a firstborn vehicle, and therefore all of its guns are shit.
Not for Ultramarines, they're not. And the reason they're not for Ultramarines is because they get +1 to wound all the time on the Oath target. So its guns are shit if you were playing Blood Angels, but if you're playing Ultramarines, it's actually kind of bonkers. The Hurricane Bolters are twin-linked, Mark, right?
Yeah.
So you get 24 shots with Hurricane Bolters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing Ultramarines and you shoot the Oath target, that means that you are rerolling all hits, and all your wounds are +1 to wound, rerolling all wounds. So when you're shooting at like a toughness 10 vehicle with the Hurricane Bolters, I did it twice. Both times the guy had to take like 15 saves. I was like, you have to take 15 saves from bolt guns? Like in Blood Angels, this literally does 1 damage.
If that, yeah.
Yeah. And in Ultramarines, just because you reroll all hits, all wounds, and you get +1 to wound, it's bonkers good. It's like the bolters are like mopping units up. And if they try and move, Overwatch. And if you're within 12 inches of Guilliman, oh, your Overwatch is free as well. It's just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Cambo says, just trying to think which army attracts the most tryhard players. Might be biased in my local meta, but most of the tryhards here play Tau.
I was going to say
Classic.
Necrons. Necrons.
I think
Tau
you'll
being
find them.
Tryhards is a classic.
You'll find them in any army, really.
Yeah.
If you want to be diplomatic about it, the phrase you're looking for is a
Wanker.
high skill cap or a high skill ceiling, which
Wanker.
basically means they're
That's
buggers to play well, but if you do play them well, you can rinse everybody else.
Why are we
So-
trying to be diplomatic about it?
Because
armies that have a high skill ceiling are ones that attract players that often can be quite good, or
Yeah.
people who net list and wonder why they don't do very well. Looking at you, all you people playing as Angelic Inheritors for your
Not
first
doing
ever
well with
time at playing Blood Angels, and then wondering why you lost.
yeah,
Angelic Inheritors can be pretty tricky.
That's the one I always see, and you see it over and over again. People going, right, I'm just going to start playing Blood Angels. I've decided to use this Angelic Inheritors list,
which
and
I've
it's
heard is not well.
based on the American list. Is the guy I can't remember his name.
Jack.
Yeah, and you're like, well, you're not Jack. You've never played the game before. Blood Angels are a tricky army to play, and you've picked the hard mode way of playing it. If you win, then something special has happened, because you're not. You're going to get smashed.
Yeah. Even when I started playing Angelic Inheritors, I lost like my first 5 games.
It takes a long time. They do have a high skill ceiling, Angelic Inheritors. That's why I don't like them, because I can't be asked to get there.
When I learned this lesson young. When I was a kid, I started doing this like little local Street Fighter 2 tournament when it had come out on the SNES. And the character that I'd picked, having never played the game before, was a character who's had a special move that did the most damage out of any character. And it was Zangief, and he had the 360 rotating pile driver move that did the most damage. And I thought, okay, yeah, sure. How hard can it be to do this special move? Apparently, quite fucking hard.
Just because someone really good won with it, it doesn't make it a good choice for you to try and win with.
I still can't do a 360-degree rotating pile driver thing with Zangief reliably.
I was always
It's been
rubbish
a
at
number of
Street Fighter.
years. God, that was awful.
Who did I use as players?
I can about manage a reliable fireball, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I do.
Dodger Kusla says you could use that rapid fire tech marine with Storm Raven. The Rune Priest.
In Space Wolves, yeah.
It could be interesting.
But you'll have trouble keeping up, but yeah, that's what it goes down.
Well, the thing about the thing about him is, I was playing 2 tech marines in that Ultramarines list. One of them was starting behind the Storm Raven with the intention to give it +1 to hit before it moved, and the other tech marine was inside, intending to jump out when it finishes its move. So he's still within 3 for lone operative, and then he can heal it, and again +1 to hit.
Tekken was a little bit later than Street Fighter, so I get that. Tekken was always popular, and it was a good game. I never got the appeal of Virtua Fighter personally, but Tekken was always kind of cool.
I was never any good at those sorts of games. It was one of those things I always wanted to be good at, because my mates all loved them. And I'd buy one every now and again. It's absolutely suck.
And then realise you bought a full price game for a game you're not great at, and you don't want to play for longer than like 10 or 20 minutes at a time, and then you're done.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I
I've got
like
so
Mortal
many versions
Kombat.
of Street Fighter and that.
Have you seen the latest Mortal Kombat movie?
I have, yes.
It's shockingly not shit.
I really appreciate you giving me that copy of Mortal Kombat 1. I still play Mortal Kombat all the time. I like it.
Oh, my pleasure.
I always thought Mortal Kombat was trying to be like Street Fighter, but not as good, just more edgy.
I mean, you're not wrong, but that doesn't make it any less fun, though.
Maybe.
No.
But yeah, I just play against my mate and button mash.
Yeah,
I mean, you can do that in those sort of games, you know?
You can if you're playing against your mate who's also rubbish.
yeah.
Like, you know, my wife
your
and I
little
will
brother
play
who's
together
7
and
years
just
younger than you
flail at
doesn't
each other
understand.
ineffectually.
And
It's
until
like
he learns how to
Smash.
beat you at Mario Kart, and then he doesn't stop beating you at Mario Kart forever. Oh.
I quite like Smash because you can play that by just wailing.
Smashing
on
buttons.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Hey, Eternal.
I was playing in Smash. The guy from Castlevania.
Belmont.
Yeah, I like playing as him in Smash.
Oh, the SNES Castlevania was good. I really enjoyed that.
That was good. That still is good.
Yeah.
So a few people will know that I collect retro games.
I didn't know that. What sort of retro games?
Well, all of them, more or less. I know that sounds like a bit of a flippant
Like
answer.
which like what's your favorite retro console or whatever?
I don't know actually. I have a real thing for the weird ones.
Okay.
So like,
We're still talking about
I like
consoles
some-
now, or
Sorry.
we're still talking about games consoles?
Yeah. So like, I've got Resident Evil collections. Resident Evil is my favorite game series.
Okay.
And the pride and joy out of my Resident Evil game series collection is Resident Evil 2 on the game.com.
Jeez.
And the game.com was this kind of like LCD handheld that came out almost the same time as the Nintendo DS, but it's black and white and has a touchscreen that doesn't work. And it's LCD. And it's the worst console. As far as I can tell, it's, if not the worst, certainly one of the worst consoles ever made in history. Right. Every game on it was unplayable. But for some reason they thought, do you know what we should do? Port Resident Evil onto it. So it's the worst version of a game, and I just love that it exists. So lots of my stuff. I like handhelds best. I love things like my little Neo Geo Pocket Color and things like that. That's an amazing little console. But I've got most consoles that are sort of like UK ones since the kind of the 80s. I'm missing a couple. I don't have a Virtual Boy.
That's fair.
Because I can't afford one. I don't have a 3DO for similar reasons. And guess what? I don't have an Atari Jaguar.
Yeah.
But I've got sort of Master Systems and Mega Drives and Saturns and
Game Gear.
But when I was growing up, everybody wanted the Atari Jaguar for that Alien versus Predator game, and like nobody had it.
Yeah.
Well, it started to get really cheap in America, but I don't think it ever did here. You hear stories about it going cheap, but as a kid, they were mythical.
Yeah, I never knew anyone with an Atari. I knew people with like Mega Drives and stuff.
Quality or something, whatever they were.
Everyone here had either a Nintendo or some form of Nintendo, or a Mega Drive.
Yeah.
And I never saw any of the others. Things like the Amiga 32X and things like that, or the TurboGrafx 16 and that I know about as an adult, and I can tell you about the history of them, and I'm, again, a massive nerd. But I never heard of them as a kid. There was Mega Drive or Nintendo, and that was the only things that existed.
Yep.
And then the PlayStation N64 arrived. And I know now, again, there were lots of other things, but as a kid, there weren't. There was the PlayStation or the Nintendo.
Until there was the Xbox.
Because nobody gave a shit about the Saturn.
That's very true, yeah.
And again, I saw one of those till I was an adult.
I had an Atari, does that count?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
Which one?
I had two, actually. The 2600 was my first one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was basically, like, I found a catalogue. Basically, I think my parents couldn't afford, like, SNES or Master System.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Atari 2600, and then after that we had Atari ST, which was basically the cheap version of the Amiga 500.
Yeah.
It was a PC, wasn't it? It was their personal computer.
Yeah, but...
the time they were kicking around, I had a Commodore 64 before we got a
SNES. Speaking of Commodore 64, hold on a minute.
Yep.
Commodore 64, the game's loaded on cassette for the most part, correct?
Yes. They did also do a 3.5-inch floppy drive, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Did you have the Terminator?
I've never had a thing for 3.5-inch floppies.
No. For the Commodore 64, did you have the Terminator 2 game that came on a cartridge?
Don't think so.
All right, so it was like,
Maybe,
it was the Terminator 2 game that was in the arcade, and it came on a cartridge, right?
Right.
So every other game on the Commodore 64, you put the tape in, and you press play, and you waited like half an hour, and then you could play the game. Maybe not half an hour.
And the game was invariably shit as well.
Yeah, and if the game crashed, you had to rewind the tape and play it again, right?
Start it all over again, yeah.
But this Terminator 2 game was on a cartridge, so it loaded in like a minute compared to like the 20 minutes. So we just played Terminator 2 like exclusively because it's like the only game that loaded
reliably loaded. Yeah, it makes sense.
And they've made like I don't think it's a remake of it, but there's a new 2D Terminator 2 game coming out in September on Steam.
Yeah, it looks wicked. I've seen the
and
trailer.
it looks super fucking awesome. I am buying that. I am streaming that on the second it comes out.
All right.
Be the best Terminator game that ever come out, as far as I'm aware. I know that new Resistance game is good. I just haven't played it yet. Terminator versus RoboCop.
That was also 2D, and also I had that on the
was
Game Boy. I
It was
think.
on the Mega Drive, and it might be one of the greatest games of all time.
There's been a bit of a renaissance of the Turtles beat 'em ups as well. The 2D
Oh, did
Turtles
you?
beat 'em ups. They've started reappearing.
They were good games.
Quite a few of them.
Alex
I
says you.
beat 'em up. I was just shit at fighting games.
Alex said a Jaguar. You can get one right now in the US, $600.
That's the thing. $600, you know. I can't justify that.
No, not at all.
I can't believe that Terminator 2 game on the Commodore 64 was legendary. I can't believe you didn't have it. I mean, I don't
think I had any way to plug it into, mate. Because if it came in a cartridge, then I'd no like socket to plug a cartridge into.
I had a BBC Micro. Do you remember those?
Is that the ones that had the black and green screen?
It predated the Commodore, and that was before I was getting into computing.
That was before I was born, but I still had one.
Well, yeah, fair.
Because I'm a bit younger than you.
I was talking with the guys in one of the SWU communities earlier, and we're getting to talk about all the old Star Wars novels and stuff. And I got to looking at one of the Star Wars books off my shelf and pulled it down and looked at the publishing for it. And it was published in 1979. I never knew that.
What book was that?
It's a Han Solo trilogy. Before all the Thrawn stuff, before all the X-Wing stuff, same sort of time as Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It was like a trilogy of Han Solo stories and
79.
79 and 80, yeah.
Was that not before Empire?
It is before Empire.
Yeah.
So they published a Han Solo trilogy after the first movie was released.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
No,
it was written by the guy who was apparently responsible for the radio dramas that they did the original trilogy as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Comic book series that came out between Star Wars and...
They were published by Marvel at the time, I want to say.
I think they were, yeah. I've got them somewhere. I got them on I actually got them all on a Humble Bundle.
Yeah, sounds about
I got
right.
the whole set of the old, like, 70s comics, and that was really cool. But, yeah, so I like old retro shit.
Oh, that's fair. It's good.
I
like it if I can get it on GOG.com. And
yeah, back when GOG was literally just good old games.
Yeah.
At one point, I owned 80% of the entire GOG catalogue.
Oh, wow.
And I was really pleased with myself. It was only a few years into its existence, you know, like it's only been out for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I used to sit there and just like buy whatever game come up, even if I didn't really want it that much, just sort of support the.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! Sounds like John having a bit of drama.
But these days they're pretty big, and I don't feel like the need to do so anymore.
That's fair.
And I don't really give a shit about a lot of indie stuff. I know that's a horrible thing to say, and I know the indie scene is really strong, really interesting, but.
Yeah, sure. But I own a copy of like the original Dungeon Keeper and Lemmings, Worms games. That's cool.
I'm playing Quake at the moment. I'm actually enjoying the Quake remastered.
Okay.
You know, I love a bit of like Doom and Quake, and I love my first-person shooters. But that's what I grew up playing. Old ID Software stuff, Jill of the Jungle as well. I used to love that.
Wow.
Although I had a few consoles as a kid, I wasn't really allowed them. So my formative years as a little boy, as it were with PCs.
Yeah,
and like DOS, basically. Because I used to get, where my parents worked on that, they used to occasionally, when the computer got retired from like reception or something, I would get this sort of like 10-year out of date before I got it.
Gotcha.
Hunk of junk. Everyone else is sitting there using Windows 95, and I'm like, what's this Windows thing? I've never heard of it. Here's my DOS prompt.
Whereas mine was the SNES with the Mario World and the Zelda Link to the Past, and then the Game Boy with the.
I had a Game Boy, but I had a Nintendo, but I was only allowed to play it at Christmas.
Wow.
So
there was something.
I wasn't allowed to.
I was going to say there was something. Something beautiful about just knowing about a DOS prompt, wasn't there?
Yeah. So I when I was long before, I was at primary school, And every time I wanted to play a game, I used to have to type the prompts in for it. So I was like junior school and that, and I used to be able to look after my computer, formatting things and deleting files because I only had a really small hard drive in it.
Yep. Which means
and while I was still at primary school, so
most of the time you probably knew more than most of the teachers.
And that was really useful for me because it kind of set me up when I got older in a really strong position to sort of, because I didn't just know how to click on things, I knew sort of vaguely how things worked underneath.
Yeah, I get that.
Even as a little kid. So it meant that I was in a really good position. So I was learning coding and stuff. And I went to secondary school and I could already code. I was making games. And this is long before we had things like Python.
Akalushka says his boy had Segas.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
My friends had them, and every now and again I would go to visit a friend and they would let me ever go on Sonic or something, and I'd be mind blown because I'd still been playing Commander Keen.
Sonic always puzzled me because it's like Mario is all about the platforming and the jumping and the traversing and whatnot, but Sonic was all about the speed. And for me, it's like, okay, so you got this 2D screen, you got a little blue hedgehog running as fast as he can from one side of the level to the other. Doesn't that mean you just like skip over the entirety of the level?
It's a trap. So... That was always the fun thing with it. Because it's like, oh, go fast, go fast, go fast. Ha! You went fast and now you're dead.
Yeah.
And it was always trying to trick you into going fast.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Unless
you like memorize the level.
I remember seeing Sonic 3D. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, the Sonic game they released either last year or the year before was a fully 3D open world roaming Sonic game, if I recall correctly.
I don't know. I haven't played it. The last one of those sort of games I played was Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. Okay. Another excellent console.
I never had a Dreamcast, but I played it a few times.
I didn't as a kid, but as an adult, I had disposable income.
They were absolutely puerile crap, but I really enjoyed the Sonic movies. They've been
I haven't seen the third one yet. Is it good?
It's as good as the first two, which is
I enjoyed the first two.
It's tosh, but it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first two.
Jim Carrey having an absolute ball is always great to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun. It's worth watching.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the first two because I thought they were just family fun.
Yeah. Have some popcorn, turn your brain off, and watch Pretty Lights.
I went with my mate who plays Eldar.
Okay.
And his kids and that.
Can I ask you?
And I'll tell you what I was playing. Have you guys played Combat Patrol yet?
Like the 500-point battles or something else?
It was not a 500-point game. It's a game in a game. Because it is, you have to use what's in that Combat Patrol box.
I remember having a go at it once, and it was horrifically unbalanced because some of them had vehicles in and some of them didn't. And the ones with vehicles in were.
It's a little bit better now because they've been sort of like stabilizing more, but it's really weird to play. And there's still like a massive power imbalance. So, because you don't get the kind of the main rules for your army, and you get just what you're given. And we were playing, so I was using the Custodes Combat Patrol because the guy is the Eldar guy, and he happened to have enough Custodes to make up their Combat Patrol as well.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't bring anything with me because I didn't plan on playing. And he used the older Eldar Combat Patrol. And it was one of those, right, I've told you, but I've completely lost the game because someone thought it'd be a good idea to put a Wraith Knight with like toughness 11 and -1 to wound.
Wraith Lord, but yeah. Wraith Lord, okay.
In a Combat Patrol. And 6 jet bikes in 2 squads of 3. And I'm playing you with infantry custodians who... I had my entire army around this Wraith Knight and couldn't hurt it. Every model's wounding on 6s, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, John, you tried to say something there.
I was going to ask you, because you're always watching movies, if you like that Thunderbolts movie. I know it's completely random topic.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It's
fun.
Yeah, it's really good. It's one of the better Marvel movies that they've done in the last few years since the end of Endgame.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, I've not liked any Marvel movie since the Endgame.
Yeah, some of them have been good. Some have been less good, but Thunderbolts being a collection of characters that you've already met in previous movies or TV series all coming together and doing their thing feels much more like, oh yeah, we've got the Avengers stuff sort of going on where there's characters coming together and existing in the same world together, and they have impacts on what's going on. So, and it had heart.
That new Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
that looks fun.
I hope so.
I hope it's fun and it's not just sort of like playing. on...
Don't get me wrong. I rate the guy. He's a good actor, but Pedro Pascal is in fucking everything at the moment.
He is. I saw a meme about that a little while ago.
Yeah.
So is the guy that was the bad guy in Mandalorian, Moff Gideon.
He died, didn't
Giancarlo Esposito. No, he's not dead. He's still around.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of that died? Lance.
Henry. What?
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen. He was never in
Not Lance
Mandalorian.
Henriksen. No. Carl Weathers died, didn't he?
He did.
Carl
yes,
Weathers.
true.
Yeah. He was in Mandalorian as well. I was thinking because Moff Gideon was in the Captain America movie.
Yes, he was. Giancarlo Esposito was in that. He's also one of the bad guys in the Boys TV series as well.
No, is that where else he's been in? Yeah. So he's in everything. He's a bad guy in everything at the moment. It feels like
he was the big bad guy in one of the more recent Far Cry games as well. He was like the selling point that he was the villain in that.
Yeah, I do like him.
Yeah,
he's very good at coming across as kind of like really creepy, and but not in a kind of like sort of way.
Gravelly voice that you have to pay attention to.
It was that really proper Machiavellian evil, but like sounds perfectly reasonable while he's killing you and your family. Proper.
Yep. No, I really enjoyed Thunderbolts. Scary. It was good.
For want of a better term.
I've booked tickets to go see the new Superman movie. We're going to go see How to Train Your Dragon live action CGI remake thing this weekend.
I'm not feeling confident about that one.
Why not?
I like the original.
Yeah, well,
I just feel like sometimes they're doing these live action things just for the sake of it.
They are. It's cool.
And I haven't seen. I've heard the Lilo and Stitch one was quite good.
The Lilo and Stitch one was all right. It was fun. It didn't do anything really different at all to the original animated one, but it was a good watch.
I thought the Mulan one was shit. I thought the Lion King one was a bit shit.
The Lion King one we had a problem with, my wife and I, and the problem was she can't handle violence with animals, and the CGI was very realistic.
It was.
So we basically we didn't see the rest of that film. We saw some of it. And then
I just think that because it was so realistic, it lost all the charm.
Yeah, that's certainly part of it.
It didn't have any soul or anything to it. It almost felt like the whole thing was AI generated, and I know it wasn't, and lots of people worked very hard to make that movie, but it didn't feel handmade. It felt.
I really enjoyed the remake they did of Aladdin with Will Smith.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that one actually.
He didn't try and do Robin Williams. He tried to give it his own stamp.
He was just Will
Smith,
and I think that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a controversial thing here now.
Oh yeah.
All right, because I like to call controversy.
Go
on. They're making that Harry Potter TV show.
Yeah, all right. Okay, go on.
I quite liked what they were doing with everyone was blowing up about the guy they've got to play Snape. And for exactly the same reason, I thought Will Smith was an excellent replacement for Genie.
Yeah.
Going with like a completely different person that's going to do their own thing, to me, seems exactly what you should do. Do you know what I mean? Alan Rickman is irreplaceable. So don't try and hire someone that looks like Alan Rickman to try and do like an Alan Rickman impersonation.
Mm-hmm.
Just get someone different to do their own spin on it. And like I was like, I hope they do something interesting with it then, and don't just try and mimic the people who made it before.
Yeah, I mean that's a very mature take. Unfortunately, I think most of the world can't be as mature as you are. It feels like. Yeah,
it's like I loved Will Smith as a Genie. I thought he did a phenomenal job, and because he did his own thing, it wasn't like pissing on Robin Williams' legacy or anything like that.
Yeah, I get you. My problem with Harry Potter is much the same as a number of other people's problems at the moment, which is not a problem with Harry Potter, but a problem with stupid bitch face. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people had a problem with the casting. I think that was just a bit of a ridiculous thing to do because what are you going to? Alan Rickman's dead. Sorry, guys, he's amazing. I love Alan Rickman, and it's a huge loss to the world. But
I found myself looking up Dogma earlier today as well, to see if I can find that on streaming somewhere. And apparently, it's never been on streaming and never will.
Why?
I'm not
Because it's
surprised.
Miramax?
No, it's nothing to do with the religious aspects, which is what most people thought it
That's
would
what I would
be.
have assumed. Yeah.
But it's everything to do with the fact that there's a whole bunch of rights backwards and forwards going on with it, and eventually it wound up being owned by the Weinsteins, and nobody wants to talk to them anymore. So
So it's a bit like why we never see Met Commander
yeah,
released.
pretty
Because
much.
of course that was the BattleTech license got split between about 15 different people,
Yeah,
and nobody knows who owns anything anymore. So that we'll never see that again.
pretty much something like that.
But I thought View Askew would have had kept the rights to it. I'm surprised that.
No, there was a bunch of selling of rights going on apparently between Weinstein and his company and Disney, and back and forth again, and something went on, and Mr. Kevin Smith didn't own the rights, so he couldn't do anything with it.
All right, because I've got a copy of that on DVD, and I've got a copy of it on VHS.
Oh wow! I think I've got
Which
a
is how
copy of
old
it.
I am.
I'm gonna have to dig it out and watch it again because it was an awesome film.
Yeah, brilliant film. Brilliant film. I really like that film.
I actually managed to sell some VHSs recently on eBay. I couldn't believe it.
I think they're having a bit of resurgence, aren't they?
I found 6 of them in the loft, and I looked inside them, and I swear to you, some of them, like the quality of the cassette tapes, I'd been like, it's just degraded over the last 20 years. I was like looking at it, I was like, I don't even know if I'll get anything for these, and I threw them on eBay, and it was like someone just made a batch offer of like 20 quid. I was like, all right, they're yours.
I think a lot of people buy them to have them on the shelf rather than.
What was theoretically on them?
Well, there were a bunch of like one of them was like the Cunning Stunts Metallica music concert. You know, it was like just random ass VHSs from 20 years.
Look at the case and the artwork and stuff, and it's kind of trendy. Like some of my students, one of them the other day, he had a load of cassettes. And I was like, have you got a cassette player? No. So why have you got them then? He goes, because they're retro cool, aren't they? Like, are you fucking mental? Cassettes were awful. I remember sitting there with a pencil jammed in it, trying to wind it up because it had gotten cut. You know what I mean? You were there.
Yeah, we all did that.
I'm glad they disappeared. They were dreadful. Don't bring them back.
Tony.
What?
What are we going to do at this doubles event at Element next year?
Haven't we? I think we've got to play Blood Angels again.
We probably do.
So what do you fancy? Do we go? I mean, I run what I thought was a meme list, but then it turned out to be ultra meta about 6 months later. I was just ahead of the curve with all heavy intercessors and terminators and no Blood Angels units.
I was going to say your heavy intercessors got much better now. They went back down in points, didn't they?
I love that list.
This is going to be April next year, so there's plenty of time for them to go up and down and up again in points before.
The only thing I didn't like about my list that I took to that last doubles tournament was my infiltrators. Because they didn't do anything. They just stood around.
They just stand around stopping people infiltrating. That's what they do.
Boring.
Well, I mean, it's boring, but it works.
I really liked. I was running double Vindicators before it was cool.
Is double Vindicators cool now? Is it?
But it was for a while. Everyone was running double Vindicators with.
I mean, they're still effective.
Yeah, true. I'm off them.
Why?
Because they're casino.
Oh, and your hatred of random dice rolling shots.
I do agree, but only for me, it's yes, they are, but only if you're running one of them, they are. Because by running two, you're sort of like taking a lot of that randomness out of them.
Yeah, you take out some of the randomness. They're still not my favorite, I guess.
You just
fair
bloody contrarian.
Hey, well, you're the competitive player out of all of us. You're the person who's done best out of tournaments. So
yep.
I am also contrary, so that's fair to say.
Oh yeah, sure. We can call your opinions bullshit as much as we want, but you've kind of got the record to back it up.
Yeah.
It's like playing Star Wars. It's one guy, he's a British guy, who plays with. So the card minimum for a deck in Star Wars is 50 cards, and he'll run like 53 cards or 54 cards, and the Americans take the piss out of him, something chronic, but he wins all the time. It's like you may not like it because you may think it's like less consistent and so on, but the dude wins more than you do.
Yeah.
How does he make it work? Having just lots of good cards, I guess. Right.
He calculates the odds very closely, very carefully as to what he can get at any given point, and he very judiciously runs cards that can search for what he wants or needs at any given time.
That makes sense.
So I've always liked playing games like 40k and that by trying to take a fresh look at the codex and putting together lists and that of units that other people aren't using. Because I just get a lot of fun out of that. And that's why I put that list together with all the heavy intercessors and the vindicators and that. Because again, at that point last year, we weren't seeing them on tables.
Cambo suggests triple predators, 2 annihilators and 1 destructor.
But I just think that sometimes I maintain this with the Stormlance. So when we first looked at the detachments back when 10th edition first came out,
Yeah, we thought it
we
was tough.
dismissed Stormlance as being absolute shit, the same as everybody else did. Oh, no, it's useless. Ironstorm, Firestorm, maybe. Gladius is the way you play Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went back to it, 3 or 4 months ago now?
Maybe not quite that long, but
not quite long ago. We were sort of talking about it. I was like, hang on. When we were writing these lists, I just suddenly realised I think this is actually really, really strong.
Yeah.
I think this has got legs. I like it more than the other detachments. And I think by going back to the codex just every now and again and just sitting there and going, right, I want to make a list and I want to use things I've not used before. And reevaluating things like that. We miss things that have been like ignored because when they first come out, the points weren't right. Or the meta. At the beginning of 10th edition, the meta was very much kind of tanks and monsters, heavy toughness.
Mm-hmm.
And the meta now is shifting more into kind of elite infantry and that. And that means that different things that were good, weren't good then, are good now, and vice versa.
Yeah. Plus, there's things that are easy to play, things that are difficult to play. The rules have shifted ever so slightly in a few places with all the various balance tweaks.
And I think it's really valuable to just every now and again go back to root, and just re-look at your codex and say, right, what have I not used before? What do I think is strong now, considering what things are like in the game?
Well, the problem with that is the same problem it's always been and always will be, and that is new models cost a bomb, building them costs time, painting them costs time, and by the time you've done all of that, it's kind of moved on. There's a strong risk that things have kind of moved on.
Which is why I encourage going back to my starting a new army videos that I'm trying to make at the moment, hence me sitting there painting fucking trim. To not bother when you're building your army at the beginning, when you first start with your army, don't bother buying things that are meta, buy things that are interesting, buy things that are kind of iconic, buy things that you fancy painting, until you've got enough to build an army, then play a few games and then start sort of like thinking about, I'd like to add a unit of XYZ. Because if you try and buy a whole army that's good and then try and paint the whole army that's good, by the time you've managed to do both of those different things, it won't be good anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
So just buy what you want to paint till you've got a decent enough core that you can start adding in the odd units here and there and go, I want to try out because most people let you proxy it first game.
Yeah,
of course,
which has come back to the roots of my dissatisfaction with 40k at the moment, which is half of my army having been legends has left me dry on the enthusiasm, really, of what do I want to buy anymore off the back of that. Maybe it would be a sound investment towards future game playing with 40k, but I resent being forced into that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think I got hit as hard, if not harder, than both of you.
Yeah.
I think I lost something like 80% of my collection.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm such a fan of Forge World. My Thunderhawk survived.
What are you looking at, John?
Oh, I've got a hole in one of my bases. I need to find one of these stupid little bits that stick into the holes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I've found really good at filling that sort of hole in a base is toothpicks.
Okay. I'm sure I've got like a Primaris character and all this junk that has one of those little hole things that I could just
fair enough.
sniff off.
I use them in the Blood Bowl base all the time. You just like glue a toothpick in the hole, chop it off at the top, chop it off on the bottom, and just like soak it in super glue. And
I don't even do that. I just get a bit of milliput and shove it in the hole.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That'll do. I used to use plasticine to do that when I was a kid because plasticine would harden quite well with a layer of super glue on top of it.
But it goes weird after a few years.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
as I found out with looking at a lot of my really old models that I've put together like that. Or the other one I used to use a lot was green stuff. When I used to assemble models of green stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a little
Yeah.
bit off someone's foot. That'll fix it. I thought I stuck his foot over the top of the hole, but I must have moved him when I was posing him, and now the hole is exposed. No.
The other thing I do is just don't bother.
Just have a
It's
hole
like-
in space.
No, I just because like you use I don't know what you're using, but I use sand and stuff to base my models.
Mm.
So when I'm doing that, I just make sure I put an extra big blob of PVA in the hole, and then like, when I dunk it in the sand, it will fill up with sand anyway.
True.
Or like using those texture paints, the same thing. Just put a big old blob there when you're painting it.
Well, now it'll have a big
Alex
blob of
suggests the route to solving this is just buy 3 or more of everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you've got unlimited time and money, yeah, sure.
So while we're on the subject of buying 3 or more of everything, you can support the channel with super chats and paid memberships and Patreon and all that sort of stuff that will help us buy 3 or more of everything.
Well,
Yeah, like-
let's buy one each, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if that. Jeez. Oh well, at least I can't see the horrible kraken mouth at the bottom of your paint pot anymore, Tony.
Oh no, because it's all I'm doing is painting things black. Hours and hours and hours of painting things black that are going to be another color later.
All right, so you've probably thought of this, and there's probably a reason why you're not doing it. But why don't you just spray them black?
Well, because the main armor color is white. So I've got 2 choices here. I can either spray them black and not have to paint the trim, but have to paint every single individual armor panel white.
Right.
Or I can spray them, well, I use the airbrush to do the white gradients and the armor, and then black out the trim.
What
Yeah.
the trim's going to be brass, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that over a black base, do you?
It doesn't work. I did test it on one of these models I've got lying around here somewhere because
Okay.
I thought that myself. And the other thing I tried to do was mix in some contrast paint with a brass
Yeah.
to blacken it down a little bit and give it a bit better coverage, but it just looked a bit wonky. And when you look at it, you're going, this just looks better than
Oh, Alex,
Yeah.
you really didn't have to.
this just looks better over a black undercoat. So at some point you have to go, look, am I willing to sacrifice quality this far? And there's only so many bits you can, and it needs blacking out.
Here's to you, Alex. We shall put that towards hobby fund of one of us at the very least.
Oh,
somewhere.
cheers, Alex. That's very kind of you.
I was going to say, I need to get you over on my stream, Mark, and just ask for super chats. Like, geez,
Just
Yeah,
shoot
I'm not.
for it.
Apparently, I'm not
Crazy.
bold enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think mine was particularly
You've got-
enthusiastic or inspired, but
I took a load of students to, I don't know, some people in the audience might know this, but I
Yeah.
took a load of students to a trade show at the NEC the other day called TCT 360
okay.
and smart manufacturing show and things like that.
Freaking Warhammer.
And it's a big trade show, industry event for like additive manufacturing, things like that. And the students were just walking around basically going to different stores going, have you got some stuff for me? Or can I have that? Now, like we come back, there was this, I don't know what the company was, but there was in the manufacturing, smart manufacturing, there was a little Chinese company that makes intercoolers and things like that. And my students came back with this intercooler. So what the hell are you doing with that? And the guy was like, well, apparently the Chinese guy on the stand said he couldn't take it back to China with him. So they just brought this fucking great big intercooler. I was like, what are you going to do with that? I was like, well, he said we could have it. So we had it. And then one of them went, is that all he had on the stand? And they were like, no. So some more went back. So we're driving back from this trade show. And in the back, I've got like a whole van full of intercoolers and like big cooling systems, like air conditioning units. They're huge. So in the student area at the school, there's like these giant things. They're big enough you can sit on, use them as a table kind of thing. That like took 3 people to move and things like that, and they just came back with a lot of it. The brazen little bastards are like, I want that. Oh, I want that. Can I have
if
that?
you want deals at the expo, at the UK Games Expo, which is on the other weekend,
Yeah.
the best day to do it is always the Sunday because you got the vendors who've got all of their stuff,
Yeah.
and unless they know they can resell it on later, guaranteed, you can pick up so many bargains by just going around and going, "Do you want to take that home, or do you want to sell it to me a little bit cheaper, mate?" And you
Well,
can
I'll
walk
tell you
out
what,
laden down with stuff.
Even I managed to convince this little company from America that's making a special graphene infused printer filaments. And
Okay.
I convinced him to let me have a roll of this fancy graphene filament, because he's like, "You're going to be able to do it." I was like, "Yeah, we'll test it, and I'll send you a link. You can we'll show you some pictures if the students make it work." Anyway, and he goes, "Do you want a roll of it?" And he had like PLA and whatnot, the normal stuff. And then I was like, "Can I have this one?" Put it into a roll of something I've never even heard of. He goes, "It's really difficult to print. You're going to be able to do it." I'll figure it out. Anyway, I get home and look up on eBay, and the non-graphene in like infused stuff's about 300 quid a roll.
Wow.
And these air conditioners, they went on eBay to look up the intercoolers and things, and they reckon that they're worth about $3 or $4 grand each.
Jesus.
So the students are like, "Yep, job done." Cheeky. I thought my sort of like few hundred quid's worth of fancy filament that I got, because again, it was the day the show was ending.
Well, at least you're teaching them valuable life lessons.
Scrounging.
Yeah.
It's just your blatant scrounging on the internet. Send us some money, you fools, because we haven't got any, because whatever. Reminded me of the sheer brazenness of my students.
I suppose you've got nothing to lose, and they've not yet learned shame.
They're not yet learned shame of sponging stuff, you know. And I do tell them to sort of like do it a little bit, because occasionally some of these companies will let us have like bits of equipment and that we can't, or like this weird filament. There's no way I could justify spending that, because we don't have much of a budget. We're a school, on a fancy filament that may or may not work. But it's really good for the engineering students who do like strength testing and tension testing and things like that with it.
Yeah.
So you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, well, that's true. Manners still, as well always get you somewhere, don't they?
I'm always on the scrounge for more things for my students.
6 weeks from today, I'm going to be on an airplane.
You are?
Is this your Vegas trip?
Yeah.
Vegas, baby.
I was going to say, we need another super chat. Mark needs to get
6 weeks today.
Some, I don't know what you need in Vegas. Spending money in Vegas?
Fucking, I don't know.
Seed money.
McDonald's money, that's what we'll call it.
No, fucking Taco Bell money is
no, I wouldn't afford that. I wouldn't eat Taco Bell.
No,
have you ever eaten a Taco Bell?
I've been warned off. I've never eaten a Taco Bell.
No, nor have I. And I kind of want one, but I'm scared of it.
The Americans have been busy warning me off a Taco Bell. Like, if you eat it, it'll be out again before you go home, very, very messily. So,
but do you remember Demolition Man?
Yeah, that's
why I want to try it.
Have you ever been to America before then?
I've never been to the USA before, no. I've been outside the country, I've travelled, but I've never been to America before, so this will be a first.
Well, that's exciting. So how long is your flight? Do you know all these things?
So the flight out is just under 11 hours.
Okay.
And the flight back is supposed to be 10 hours. For some
so
reason.
Hold on a minute. You need to stop going to the movie theatre like now.
What?
So
Why?
You aren't bored as shit on the flight.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I've got like music and books and stuff. And
okay.
I know that some other people who are also going to the Galactics are also going to be on the same flight as me, because it's they do one direct flight from the UK to Vegas each day. So
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We haven't got a lot of choice unless you want to be changing planes.
I remember when we went to Florida for honeymoon, before kids, I'd seen like every single movie on the plane. I was like, oh god, I'm bored now. But then when I went to GDC last time, which is San Francisco, which is the same like 12 hours, well, I had a child, so I hadn't been to the movie theater like in a year, and I hadn't had peace and quiet for 11 hours in like a year. So I enjoyed very much watching like 5 movies back to back on that flight, that all of the ones that like had been in the cinema and I hadn't had the opportunity to see, you know what I'm saying?
If I had 11 hours of like quiet time, I'd sleep.
I think they did some of that as well, to be fair.
Uninterrupted sleep feels like.
If you've never eaten at Taco Bell, it will definitely wreck you, says Alex. Okay, fine.
You have to like build up to it then, like build a tolerance.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go to eat anything. So we're getting a block booking at the Treasure Island resort. So I've got like 3 nights there, just over from the Venetian, which is the venue where the Galactics is taking place.
Have you actually got a block booking, or are you just going to pirate one and you're just going to rock up and like?
No. It's a block booking for a group of which I'm a legitimate member because I've been paying a couple of quid into their Patreon for the last year or so.
And I was taking the piss on the name of the Treasure Island, Mark.
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
It's a piracy joke.
I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah, no, it's
going to be great. I'd love to. I mean, many years ago when I was a student, I went to the Netherlands for a tournament for 40k once, and that was an amazing thing. But like as an adult, there's no way that I could bring myself to do it. It's not that I couldn't. I bet if I turned around to my wife and said, "Look, I want to go to this event in XYZ country. It's going to cost a lot of money, but I'd really enjoy it," I'm sure she'd say yes.
Yeah.
But
justifying it. That's fair.
It's justifying myself. It's a bit like John, with his one tournament a year sort of thing.
When you've got kids, I fully appreciate your outlook is a lot different compared to someone who doesn't. So,
which is why I thoroughly encourage you to do this sort of thing, so we can live vicariously through you.
Cheers. I'm not sure I'm going to take part in the actual main Galactics tournament, though. I must confess, might just go and soak up the vibes and play all the side events and get all the cool stuff from the prize wall and meet all the people.
Yeah.
Like you're spending all that money to go there, you should do what makes you happiest, right?
Yeah. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to spend 8 hours in a room of 3,000 people competing for a spot that 10% of people are going to get, and then do it again the day after, where they're going to cull it down by another 90% of the remaining field. Or I can, play some fun.
It just sounds a bit stressful to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I might do well. There's a good chance. I'm not a shit player, but I'm not an amazing player, so...
You're pretty good. You beat us fairly regularly when we play. Well, very often.
To be fair, I play it a bunch more than you guys, so I've got a bit of an advantage in that.
Well, Alex actually sent me last year for my birthday that little bobblehead. Like the Space Marine Assault Intercessor, like the pop. Is it called the pop vinyl? Is that what they call it?
The Blood Angel Assault Marine pop vinyl.
Right, and it's the only one that we've got in the house. Awesome. And Michael runs around with it, and he goes, "Dad, I want my toy that's you." And like, because he's seen the picture of me on like the Blood Angels Commander channel, and I think he thinks like when I go to work or something, I honestly turn into like the Blood Angels Commander. So he calls that pop vinyl me. He was playing with it tonight actually. It's like sits on his windowsill. But it's very cute, and it's like he's like, "Dad, that's you," and I was like, "Yeah, Michael, that's very cute, thank you."
Fat Man's Kitchen says, "Once my scratch-built Great Unclean one is finished, and I feel like scratch building more, I plan on an Orc Stomper."
Oh, a scratch-built Stomper is Midwinter Minis just did one. Did you see it? It used like toilet roll tubes and everything.
Oh wow,
that sounds pretty fun.
That does. Is your Stomper built, Tony?
No, is it fuck?
Still in the box.
My Legends before I finish building that fucking thing.
Fair enough.
How long have you had it?
And I insist that I'm going to do it. I'm going to build an Orc army for Alan before he's before he's ready to play with it.
So that'd be like, I don't know, 13 or 14?
No, I started playing 40k and Warhammer and that when I was 8.
Oh wow, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like 10 maybe, I think. My kid wants to play HeroQuest again. He keeps asking. But we played it once and it was honestly a disaster.
Yeah.
Have you sold it yet?
But HeroQuest?
Oh no, I can see it on the shelf behind you.
No, I've kept HeroQuest. That's one of the few that I'm keeping.
My buddy plays Eldar. He's got 2 kids. One's about year 8, so what, about 12, 13 years old, 12 years oldish. And the other one is about 8, and he plays and paints with those 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Because you can't really play the game when you're 8 years old, but you can smash a paintbrush into a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Contrast paints have made that so much more accessible as well, I feel like.
And the thing is about those sort of like, if you get the simple ones and that, you can just prime them white again.
Say a lot of things about
you just give them contrast plates and build up thickness.
Really good thing they did. I'll give them that.
Infinite fun,
Yeah.
So yeah, I do.
Do believe that Stomper has less parts than a Brutalis Dreadnought.
You said that.
Dr. Akalushka.
I've heard though it's notoriously
Wouldn't
difficult
shock
to
me.
build.
That's funny. Yeah, probably. God,
Like the old drop pods,
Yeah. Yeah.
which were little fiddly fuckers.
I still want to get a Baneblade one day. I've got absolutely no use for it whatsoever. I just want to get a Baneblade.
Is it seems to be like from Dawn of War? It's the Bane Blade.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh, have you seen the remastering Dawn of War?
Yeah. Do you know what though? I don't know why. This is a bit I don't understand.
For money.
It works perfectly well.
For money. That's fine.
I probably
That's
from
a
the
stupid
64-bit, but
question.
I've got a copy off of GOG. It works fine.
Yeah, because people who like that stuff will pay
I
for
played
it.
the other day.
And they'll pay a lot of money, or a reasonable amount of money, and it's really, really cheap to remaster an existing game like that.
Yeah.
There's no scope to project creep or anything like that. You just like redoing the graphics, the engine's there, the gameplay's there, it's already scripted, it's already written.
I don't think they're redoing anything but the textures from.
No, they're just upping the texture,
Yeah.
which is what the mods do already. And
I mean, to be fair, the original
It looks like they've
textures
only
were
changed the
probably
polygon count, but yeah, sure.
compressed. Like way back in the day, they probably compressed the textures, so they're just uncompressing the textures.
It's just
probably
like putting mods onto it, isn't it? Just to make it look better.
it's kind of like one of those things that I don't understand because that's not me. I'm kind of like, well, they've not added anything to it. They've not modernized it or like made the interface a little bit better or something like that. They've
So
increased the resolution.
Strategically, this sort of remaster is done. Because it's a low risk way of making a bit of profit and cashing in on nostalgia, but primarily it's done to gauge market reaction to a potential sequel to a franchise that has been dead for a number of years.
Because they killed the franchise with Dawn of War 3, which was garbage. Dawn of War 1, like I said, I played it through again the other day.
Yeah.
Great game. Yeah, just before the announcement, I just finished going through another. It's one of those ones that I keep installed on my computer if I want to kill some time.
Yeah. But as an example, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition high def remake that they did for it made EA a lot of money, so they started making Mass Effect 5. That's largely what that is.
But also, like you say, it makes them a lot of money and it's very low effort.
Yeah. It's not a question that's low effort. Coding games and making games and funding them has a problem with forecasting how long it's going to take, how much they're going to pay the developers to do so, and how much the game turns out to require more work than was originally planned and forecast. And HD remakes don't have any of that risk. They can forecast that very accurately.
Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah, don't doubt it. And it can make them a boatload of money with very little risk.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, there's something to be said that Warhammer is just, every year it feels like doing better and better and better, right? Like the stock is up, every new video game does better, every new game does better, even in Daniel, by the way. There's the official Stomper not come with instructions. If it's Forge World, it will have one page that shows you all the pieces. It's not. Okay.
No, so there's an interesting story behind it, though, if you care to hear it.
Go on then.
So, the thing was that they'd been trying to push vehicles bigger and bigger and bigger for years, but the technology for the injection molding machines only allowed models to be made so big. So the early Forge World really only existed because it could make things like the Bane Blade, which couldn't be made in plastic because they were bigger than the mold. The mold was too big to fit in the machine.
I see.
So it was just unfeasible. But the thing was that the Games Workshop liked big models and big centerpieces because they sell really well. So there was this kind of like size creep going on for ages, but they couldn't quite push it. Anyway, so when they finally got their a new machine that could do these big models, they needed a centerpiece for all of the armies to try and encourage people to buy it, because this is what indirectly led to the Knights.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So the very first model made with this new technology of big ass molds, was the Bane Blade. And the second model, the one they released at the same time, was the Orc Stomper. And they were released and publicized and promoted alongside the first version of Apocalypse to try and promote and recoup the cost to this stupidly expensive new machine that they just bought.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it's really interesting because they tried to put together a kind of a centerpiece for every army, and eventually we end up with a Wraith Knight.
Yeah, I remember that period.
The Khorne Lord of Skulls came out of that period. But to save money and to make it like the idea of selling more of these, that's where your first Imperial Knights came from, because they come out in 6th edition at the same time. And it was all down to this new technology and trying to recoup their losses from the very expensive piece of kit they bought to make.
I wouldn't say losses; it's more like recouping investment. But yeah, I get your point.
But it was all about sort of recouping it back on this new piece of kit.
Yeah.
To make these big molds.
Yeah,
which I just found quite interesting. So that's why it's plastic, but it's the first plastic large scale kit that they made alongside the Baneblade, which is why it's not very good, and nor was the Baneblade that came out at that time. It's had a couple of slight improvements since then.
If they were going to do a plastic Thunderhawk, they'd have done it by now in 40k.
It's still too big.
Yeah,
because that's the thing that like it really does come down to. There isn't a plastic Thunderhawk because they haven't got a machine big enough to cast a plastic Thunderhawk. That's it, really. There's not anything else to that.
Makes sense.
And we might get a plastic Thunderhawk if they ever get a way of making sprues big enough to have a plastic Thunderhawk on. Otherwise, you've got to make it in a million like bits and putting, as we saw with that Baneblade. So the bottom of the Baneblade is 2 very large bits that have this stupid third very large bit that sort of glues on the inside to hold them together. Because even with the new molding technology, they couldn't cast the bottom of the tank in one piece.
Yeah, makes sense.
But the whole printing an extra bit just to put on the inside to give it a little bit of support so it doesn't fall in half is a bit excessive. And can you imagine the size of the bit you'd have to put in a Thunderhawk?
Yeah.
Now, you've seen mine. It's ginormous.
Although I really... The plastic Thunderhawk that I did buy is, even though it's like epic scale, it's still really cool.
Oh, it's very cool. Beautiful model. And when you put it side by side with the big resin one, it's amazing the way the details carried across.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's a real shame they killed Aeronautica. Idiots.
They kill it, did they?
Yeah.
Did you get everything you wanted or not?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, they didn't so much kill it as roll it in with New Epic, didn't they? But
yeah,
they only has Imperial. Well,
it only has Horus Heresy era stuff, so yeah, there's no Xenos in it whatsoever. They basically killed it as a 40k era game, which got rid of all the fun stuff.
And Orcs and Eldar in Epic were awesome, especially Orcs, because you could have proper Orc scale armies.
Yeah, hordes of them, as far as the eye can see.
And there is nothing better than having like a lot of bolt guns and chainswords and fighting a green tide. And just
that's always fun, isn't it?
Rolling lots of dice, and I've killed 17 model. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's just fun. You're smashing together huge mobs.
Yeah, one of my funnest games in the recent tournament history was playing that guy that just brought a Stompa, was it a Stompa? It was one of the big things. No, I think it might have been a Gorkanaut. Yeah, I think it was a Gorkanaut and 120 boys.
Yeah.
And he just went, turn 1, my whole army just is that. Like, he didn't do anything. He didn't even try and hide them in cover. He just threw. He just threw all 120 of them forward his maximum distance, advanced them, and just went like, "I know you're going to get to shoot me. Shoot me."
This is what we call a gatekeeper list. Can you deal with this?
Yeah, but even if you can't, you go down under this swarming horde of, I love a good antagonist list. You know, a Nid army that's made up of loads of gaunts, and you're trying to gun them down before they overrun your lines and.
Or the Pacific Rim Kaiju style Tyranid monster list, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just cool. I don't care who wins those games because they're so cinematic.
I'll give you that. That makes sense.
And that's the big problem I feel like at the moment with a lot of 40Ks. It doesn't give scope for that sort of thing to be happening.
All right, so I got a hot take then, which I've been thinking about for the last few years, and that is that it's just too complicated these days.
What, life?
No, 40. Well, yeah, but 40k. All the huge amount of rules and interactions and details and things and bits and moving parts and shit. When just put an army on the table and charge at each other.
That's the attraction of things like one-page rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why people like that so much?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I like a bit of complexity, but I will admit that my favourite edition, my favourite 40k in that has really been sort of fourth.
But it kind of goes hand in hand alongside the miniatures, really, because they're horrifically complicated these days.
They are.
The
They got
quality
too
is
much
beautiful,
detail on as well.
but
As someone sitting there painting trim,
really complicated. And the complication is I think the poster child for it is that Lumineth model, which is an empty suit of armor, which is beautiful,
from a
so well
standpoint,
designed,
it's incredible
and such a bitch to build and paint.
I'd love to do one. I keep meaning to buy one just to do that with.
It's worth it purely from an academic standpoint in that regard. Yeah.
Because I do have a few in my collection of models that I've just bought because I can't help it. You know, that's just too pretty. I'm going to do one of those. Because as we discussed at the beginning, the painting aspect, apart from fucking trim, and I hate batch painting, it's for me the best part of the hobby.
Yeah,
I got new paint.
Oh yeah, what new paint you got?
It's
So
black.
I'm trying to get it onto the screen.
Mind work. Okay.
Mind work. So there was so Mindwork Games is an Italian company, and they did a collaboration with a guy named Brom, who paints a lot of like the old art, you know, the kind of like proper fantasy art.
Yeah.
And they did a series of models because Mindwork is like an Italian studio, 75mm display stuff mostly. They did a collaboration with this artist, and they also released a set of paint that goes with it, and it comes with these beautiful kind of like art paintings as well.
Wow, very nice.
Which are very nice, and I bought the paint set to go with it. So I don't know how good the paints are going to be. I'm hoping they're good because they're heavy bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I do like heavy body paints. Even with these ones I'm doing at the moment, my skin colours are all done out of the heavy body acrylics because I just think they're better for that. Sorry?
They look like an oil paint tube, yeah.
It's an acrylic paint rather than oil, but it is the same sort of tube. But it's if I take the lid off and sort of like trying to extrude a little bit, it is thick like an oil paint.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And I really like it because you can. The thing is, it's very easy to make a paint a bit thinner and thin it to the consistency of what you're trying to do with it. Very difficult to make a paint thicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, especially with things like skin tones and things like that, I really like to start with a really thick, heavy body.
You like it thick, do you?
I do. I like it thick with a capital T and a capital C. 2 C's on the end. But I like it like that because I can thin it down to the consistency I'm trying to build one.
Even in my
don't let us distract you from your painting, John.
I thought he was honestly going to show us a black paint because all he's been doing tonight is painting black. So I was psyched up to see a new black paint.
Yeah.
I haven't got a new. There is a new black paint, but I haven't bothered to get it out because it's black. It doesn't matter what one you're using. I'm using this Chimera one, which is a little bit fancy considering I'm just painting things black. But it was the first black paint I could reach, and that's the one I'm using for no other reason than it happened to be on my desk when I started doing this.
Well, I've been doing nothing but little backpack bits and little silver bits on bolters this entire time. So
very nice.
At least you're using one color.
Yeah, I'm just using one color, and I am bored as well. So I've been painting every single night.
I've still got 5 to go with this set.
Since Sunday night, I have been batch painting like 20 Red Marines. And I've been doing it every night, and I've been staying up too late doing it. And
a bit boring.
It needs done, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hate it. And again, making this video at the moment, there is, at a certain point, there is nothing else you can do, and you just got to slog it.
Yeah.
Batch painting is dull, and there's nothing you can do about it. And for me, the worst part of batch painting is blacking out details after I've done the main armor color. Batch
painting is what got me into Andor, ultimately, because I tried Andor. Like, this is the first series. I tried watching it 2 or 3 times, and the first couple of episodes were just boring. And people said that, oh, stick with it, it gets better.
Oh, I hated that. People kept telling me that with Game of Thrones.
Fucking things need to be like exciting from the word get-go. But I put Andor on in the background while I was batch painting some models. And then I got through the first 2 episodes, and yeah, okay, it's slow world building stuff. And then suddenly the 3rd episode, oh, shit's going on. Wow. And so, yeah, batch painting got me into Andor. There we go.
Just hate it. I hate batch painting. But there really isn't another way of doing it. And like I say, this is blacking out details. I could just do the metallic straight on it. I had a look. It doesn't look nearly as good. And the trade-off for a bit of time wasn't good enough. I have to black out this stuff.
That's fair enough.
No, I get you.
I wouldn't bother over a dark colour. And I'm not bothering over the blue for the backpacks.
And you can do it here with us with a little bit of background
jabber
conversation. Basically. Waffle.
Mike says try batch painting 4 gladiators. I mean, it's different, Mike. You're getting paid for it.
I'll tell you what, I'll do you 4 gladiators if you want to do me 4 squads of Khorne berserkers in white, because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Are you doing them in the original World Eater paint scheme and not 40k World Eater paint scheme?
Did you not see my... So this is how they actually look when they're done. I'll zoom the old camera in.
Oh, you fucking glutton for punishment. No wonder you're doing the... Oh, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm not just spraying the fuckers black.
Right, that makes more sense now.
Because the white needs doing over... the white goes over the black. Yeah, so they are black undercoated.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Tony, your painting is not in camera view, apparently.
Oh, well. It's coming off now, anyway. There you go. I should be back in the camera so you can see me slowly painting things black. I hate you, Trim. I'm good. Right, this is it. I'm not painting any more of these. I've got 2 squads of them.
Yeah.
And I'm never painting another Khorne berserker. What I'm going to do...
How many squads can you have? What's your theoretical maximum?
6 of 20.
So 120 of them.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some Horus Heresy, don't care what mark, plastic marines.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy the box of Saren pattern helmets, which are the ones with the weird bunny ears.
Okay, yep.
I'm going to buy a box of close combat chainswords.
Yeah.
And I'm going to paint them all out of Horus Heresy from now on, because I'm just going to mix them into the squads, and I might mix some fantasy Khorne warriors as well.
Yeah.
And the reason is that those fuckers don't have any trim.
It's fair enough.
And if I mix them in with squads that have got trim on them, you can sort of say, well, some of them have got their armor's all converted over to kind of like trimmy. Because I swear they must just have someone in the Eye of Terror who all they do all day is just hammer trim on the people's armor for no apparent reason. Like, I can just see it in my mind's eye that some Astartes in the Eye of Terror goes to sleep and then wakes up and some vandal has just nailed trim all over his armor. Because
that's what happened to the Night Haunter. Yeah, you ran off.
Because there's like
to do that to you all the time.
There's no reason for this trim to be there. You know, especially when you're looking at stuff like the World Eaters, who famously couldn't give a shit about their equipment. It's just stuff that they use to stab people, you know? They'll just pick something off the floor when the axe breaks.
When you're like a Chaos Marine, though, your armor like grows stuff to...
Yeah, but why would it grow randomly bits of fucking trim? Yeah, tentacles on it, sure, makes sense. But what? They're just sitting there and bits of random brass ornamentation pop up. You know? Oh, Khorne, I love you. Brilliant, here's extra filigree. You know? I don't give a shit about filigree. So where does it come from? And the only explanation is there's some like dark mechanicum lunatic just like hiding in crevices, popping out and nailing trim to people when they're asleep.
I prefer your, you know, like the Khorne berserker's just like sitting around minding his own business, and Khorne himself is just fucking with them and giving them trim.
Just random bits of pointless ornamentation.
Yeah, and now he's like, black that out, you bitch.
The Khorne version of Nurglings run around doing all this, yeah.
little tiny blood letter blacksmiths.
Trim for hammers. The trim god.
Blood goblins, I don't know, whatever.
I like that, blood goblins, yeah. But it just makes no sense. They don't like ornamentation. So where the fuck is it all coming from?
You would guess as
I
good
don't
as
have an
ours, I
answer for
guess.
this.
I mean, they do like brass.
Well, I don't think they give a shit. I think it's just like things are made of brass that come from corn. But
Oh no, Mike's got it. Mike's got it. All this sudden trim appearing out of nowhere sort of makes them so angry.
yeah, they're just embarrassed to be seen.
We scraped all this off last night, and it's back. Fuck! Kill everything.
That's why they never sleep as well, because they know if they go to sleep, more will arrive.
Every 100 skulls collected, more trim. There you go. Something like that.
Mike, if anybody ever offers you a commission for doing a Corn 8 army and says, do you know what I want? Corn Berserkers in the original World Eaters colour scheme, just say no. It's like the old 80s and 90s drug adverts. You know, just say no. Say no to trim. All right, I'm trying to save you here, mate. Don't do it.
I think he's probably worked out where his lines are.
Yeah, trim. I'm never doing it. I don't do that much commission painting anymore anyway. Just the odd vehicle or whatever here and there.
Or what his price is, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to quadruple it for trim. Well, actually, I charge by the hour anyway, so fuck it.
It's built-in trim charge, is it? Makes sense.
Oh, you want me to do Carol Space Marines? Oh, that's why it's 4 times the price of a normal Space Marine army. Because I can't just airbrush the fuck as a colour. No.
Picture Evan from Evan Almighty trying to shave off the beard, but it keeps growing back.
I
never watched that one. I watched Bruce Almighty. That was funny, but I never watched Evan Almighty.
Very funny.
Old movie, man.
Jim Carrey was just a comedy god in his day, wasn't he?
He still is.
He just doesn't care anymore.
That's what I mean. He just does projects that are fun for him.
Yeah.
And he can. My mum always insisted that Ace Ventura was just him practicing so he could do the mask.
I rewatch that every few years.
Well, the mask or Ace Ventura?
The Mask.
I quite like both, to be honest, but the Mask is a better film, I think. Fucking trim.
How's your silver stuff coming along, John?
Oh, slow, man.
What are you painting for at the moment? Have you got another event coming up anytime soon?
Well, I want to paint jump intercessors so that if I decide, so basically, if I'm going to an event first week in August.
Okay.
I'm either taking Stormlance Ultramarines, or I'm taking spammy shitloads of jump infantry Liberator Assault Group.
Okay.
So I haven't decided yet. So at the moment, I am painting both. So they're all
when
on
you
the
say
table.
shitloads, is that 3 units 5 or 3 units 10?
Well, I've got 10 already, so I'm adding another 10. So I could potentially run 20 jump intercessors. And Vanguard vets are very cheap as well right now. I've already got 15 of them.
Yeah.
I built a list that had like 10 Death Company, 10 jump intercessors, 9 Sanguinary Guard, maybe like 6 Blade Guard. Like I just built basically a horde Blood Angels list. Like I didn't even know that was a, So I'm either going to run horde Blood Angels or I'm going to run the Stern Guard Ultramarines bullshit, which is very, very strong, actually. And part of me just wants to run that because I think that it will make a great video for my channel. Which is like, I just played this tournament and they did very, very well, and it was easy mode because Ultramarines are fucking powerful.
Because it was not Blood Angels.
Yeah.
The only benefit, Mike, to painting the Thousand Suns like it is you can make sure that you paint the base armor color quite dark, so that at least you can only paint the trim once rather than having to paint it twice like I am.
That's fair.
I quite like Thousand Suns. I've got a whole Thousand Suns army sitting in a box needing painting.
Yeah. I was wanting to do Thousand Suns, but I think I have pivoted and I'm just going to do Marines now.
I did the base armor on 1,000 Suns model for my collection of one model from every army. I was really quite happy with it. I did the thing where you put the silver on and then put some thin down blue contrast over it to get the sort of blue metallic-y look. And I really liked how it came out.
Yeah, it's a fun way of doing it. That candy schemes can look really good.
Mm.
I use them for certain models in this army. So, like my Tech Marines and that, I do that way
Hmm.
with clear paint over a metallic base.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to do a whole army with it. The problem I find when doing a whole army is it's if you're someone like John who really cares about consistency across his army, it's
Yeah,
very
that's right.
difficult when you're doing a clear scheme to get every model looking the same shade.
That makes sense.
Because it's all about the number of layers you put on, but then it's not just the number of layers, it's the number of layers if you've got the consistency in the dilution exactly
Yeah.
the same as you did last time.
Exactly. Yeah, that recipe of how you dilute it and thin it is critical.
And that can be really quite tricky to do over a really big project.
Makes
Another
sense.
thing that I'm talking about it a lot in this video, but I've talked about it before, is how important it is to have a painting journal.
Hmm.
And it's one of the things that I tell everybody to sort of buy when they start out painting. And all you do is you just get a notebook and write the fucking thing down.
Yeah.
You know, because you can always change it later. And when I'm sitting there working out the plan for these guys, I must have rewritten it about 3 times. But it doesn't matter because if I come back to it a week later, I can. Did I use pink flesh or basic flesh for the base coat for the skin?
Makes sense.
I don't remember, you know. But at least I can look it up.
Well, it's stuff you learn after years of doing what you've been doing.
And I'm not even that anal about having all of my models look the same.
Yeah, that's my problem.
I'm not bothered. I'll try out new techniques on my Blood Angels. Some of them are a bit darker than others and things like that. And I just kind of think of it as, I bet when the Heresy came out, or before the Heresy started, everyone had the same color armor. But by the end of the Heresy, and the 15 different marks, and they occasionally patch back together, and I was fighting on a desert world for a little while, and this sort of thing, that they kind of diverge.
Oh, dude, Mike has a painting journal listed on Amazon somewhere, which no one has ever bought. You're gonna have to share us a link to it, mate. You know that now.
A painting journal that you sell?
Like a list of recipes, makes sense.
Really? I don't know. Is it like a pre-filled out one, or is it just a notebook? Because I just use these little notebooks.
I'd have to assume it's pre-filled out with the recipes he's used.
You know, this is my current one.
Otherwise, if it's just a notebook, then just like buy a notebook, and I wouldn't be shocked that nobody's bought it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my current World Eaters I'm working on with scribbles out on there.
Yeah, find it. Drop us a link in the Discord somewhere, and we'll take a look and check it out.
Yeah, we'll have a look. We'll criticize it, and if we like it, we'll shill it.
Yeah. I tried out this thing where you sell print on demand. Can we not buy it on ebook or something? Oh, it is basically just a notebook, apparently. Oh, well, fine.
No.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm going to stick with my cheap exercise books.
Yeah. Which I assume you get for free from school.
Occasionally steal from school, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I buy them. Like if I see one in Tacky Max that's got a pretty cover or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
You call it Tacky Max?
Yeah. Maximum
that's
tacky.
That is funny.
Every page is page 1. Okay. Cool. Great. Is that like a do your own page number thing or something?
I love that you made that. I really do. I'm quite jealous now. I think we should make some merch.
Yeah, list it on Amazon.
We're going to sell 3 Grots painting journals, and it's just an exercise book. It even still says Espo on it.
with some shitty AI generated goblins on the front cover of it or something.
Yeah, we're not even going to get the effort of designing our own logo on there. We're just going to AI generate using Midjourney or whatever. Not correct the spelling because it'll be all wonky because it always fucks up text.
It does fuck up text.
What are you going to do in 2 weeks' time, guys? Or sooner, or whatever? What are you going to do next?
What, for the episode?
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Sure. All right.
I mean, do you want any watchers? I guess is the question.
Well,
I mean, we'd
the
have
thing
watchers,
is,
but
right,
they're probably not the sort of
the
watchers we'd
more-
appreciate.
the more like the more esoteric the
words you're looking for are specialized
want.
and niche.
Yeah, okay. So the more niche the product, more money you can charge for it,
Okay.
because the less supply there is of that. So people looking for a mixture of middle-aged men of various sizes, ages, and nationalities on a camera, it's going to be a fairly small market, right?
Right.
Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
with- I'm with you. So we've got a niche going here, right?
things like that.
I mean,
So,
yeah, sure.
so
Why not?
that means that we can charge like more money, because the market is going to be, we're alone in that market. We're the only supplier of this kind of weird porn. And
all right, everybody. Tony's had enough for the evening. He's going to be logging off shortly. So say goodbye to Tony.
Do you know what? Once I was streaming last night, and once I got to the same sort of period, like 2 hours of just painting trim or batch painting, to be fair, my mind was a bit in the gutter as well, and my stream just got terrible, and I even had to apologize for it. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, guys.
Oh man.
yeah, but anyway, yeah. So we could charge a lot for memberships. It'd be like £100 a month or something.
I mean, yeah, we could.
And all it is just us sitting there talking bollocks. Like, we've got a new video out and we just sit here and talk bollocks. Basically, we put our own podcast on there.
On OnlyFans.
On OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm. And just try to get one subscriber paying a stupid amount of money.
And then, like, I don't know, at the end of it, John can take his shirt off or something.
Why
Yeah, sure.
Great.
I work in the public sector, so I'm not allowed to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to stop now. Yeah, no.
Well, that was a fun segue, wasn't it?
John's not afraid of making money, right?
No, that's true. I do need to make money. Yeah.
You know, he managed to screw Mark by convincing him that this new card game that was coming out would be a really cool thing to do, and we can make some money off that channel. And lo and behold, Mark has lost far more money than that channel is ever likely to make.
That is true. I massively underestimated how much that card game cost. I'm the first to hold up and admit that. Card games are fucking expensive.
So when I'm playing these games and I get to chat to people over the table with me, and it's like, oh, what got you into the game? Well, a friend of mine said these magic words, I'll buy your first box.
You're basically a drug dealer, John.
So, that was very nice of me to buy your first box. I mean, that seems like that was like a real thing a friend would do, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, having
been dry on CCGs since the mid-90s before I went to university, and then suddenly you get me back into the habit again. Yeah, great.
The last one I played was bloody Yu-Gi-Oh! Remember that?
Oh, God.
I must admit, I was really enjoying Star Wars until I found out that, like, I need $500 every 4 months, and I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah, in all honesty, I was the same. So I've had one of each set, but I have to admit that the next set, I keep looking at the cards and going, there's only about 2 of them that I quite like, and I can't bring myself to spend that much money on a set of cards I don't like. I'd rather just get another set of the current set because I like them.
That's fair.
More interesting characters and
that's fair. I can
things like that.
appreciate
This
that
makes
point.
it just dull. I don't know who any of these people are. You know when they're properly mining the extended universe for this set.
Well,
I would say Mark's pretty clued up on the extended universe of Star Wars. To be fair,
in this set.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, so am I. I just didn't realize. I sold some board games to get all my set 1 cards, you know, and then it was like, okay, I've sold those games, and now set 2's here, and I was like, yeah, okay. I still only got 1 box of set 2.
Whereas I'm affording it quite happily because I'm not buying any Warhammer.
That's true. I mean, I'm not buying a lot of Warhammer, but I do have 4 mouths to feed.
Yeah.
So I
Which
mean
is
that
But for me, I bought
compact.
one box of each set so far, apart from the first set where I bought too many.
Yeah.
And then I've got some sort of singles here and there as well. Although I'm missing some from every set apart from the first.
Yeah.
Because if I'm getting it mostly as a collector at this point, and I might build a deck, I can't warrant spending like £70 on a single card.
Yeah, no, it's
Just
fair
to
enough.
add to
Makes
the pile.
perfect sense. I get it.
Yeah.
No, so I am seriously sorry. I didn't realize that I would need this much money for that.
Don't apologise. It's cool. It's
Yeah, you are enjoying it though, right?
Like now that he's going all the way to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't twist his arm behind his back and say, "You better go to Vegas, you son of a bitch." You know, like,
yeah. How dare you? Yeah.
Hey, we were just talking earlier in the stream. It's a trip of a lifetime. I've never been to Vegas.
No,
Yeah.
I've been to Vegas.
You're right. It is.
So good for
I'm
you.
going to be flying out on the Thursday. I'll arrive at about 9 p.m. local time. The Galactics start on Friday, run Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm going to have to leave just before it finishes on the Sunday evening to catch my flight home to land at about 3 p.m. on Monday afternoon.
But here's the thing. Like, that I think that's amazing. Like, I think it's amazing to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if I didn't have kids, I would love to do that. I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people never get to go to somewhere like Vegas, so yeah.
No, I think it's cool. I'd love to do it. I'd love to go abroad to play a tournament again. Because
right.
whilst I'm not that serious about the game these days,
In that case, I'm going to tell you all the crazy crap they're going to be doing at the Galactics then, just to
rub it in a bit.
hammer it home a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I finally figured out what blue I was using on Tigris, so I'm happy
What
about
blue?
that. A Calidus.
Is it called ultramarine blue by any chance?
No, but I did think that's the blue that I was using, so I did undercoat with that, but it's in fact not McCrag blue.
Fair enough.
He matches my other librarians.
So there's a beginner zone for people who are just starting Star Wars Unlimited.
You're going to go there and just seal club, yeah?
There's a trading and collecting zone for staff who will be present to help educate those new to card game trading on the process and what makes fair trade. There'll be photo experiences with a full-size X-Wing and a full-size cockpit of the Millennium Falcon to take photos of yourself in and around and stuff.
Cool.
There'll be the artists behind all the card art. There'll be a family zone, a chill zone. There will be designer panels and deck tech panels with the developers of the game. There's going to be signings with the devs and the artists, or designer duel challenges. There's going to be sign up for a draft with 7 other players and a game dev. Do a card draft in there. There's obviously the 3,000 player World Championship main event going on. On-demand pods for running Twin Suns multiplayer games, or draft pods, or sealed booster pods, all this sort of stuff.
I've always liked sealed format games. I just think that's fun.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's like Warhammer Fest.
Very much so. It's not so much a Galactic Championship, although that is taking place. I say Galactic Championship. It's like the World Championships. It's also a 1.5 year celebration of the game having taken off and doing well. And fuck yeah, we've made it kind of a sort of event.
Well, that's quite fun.
Which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll make a lot of friends there as well, and having the YouTube channel that you've got will be no mean feat as well, right? People.
Yeah. I'll get to meet all the people that I've made contact with in America who do all the streams, who've invited me to commentate on stuff and just become sort of like part of the community there and get to know.
Yeah, that's super cool, man.
I know most of the Brits who are going to be flying out there and taking part one way or the other, so that's cool. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Good for you. You'll get the same thing that I get, where someone will come and speak to you, and they'll speak to you for like 5 minutes, and then you'll be like, "Do I know you?" And they'll be like, "No, I just watched the channel." You're like, "All right, who the fuck are you?"
I don't know if I've said this story. So I was at a event in Cheltenham, a little store showdown with like 30 people a few weeks ago. And these couple of guys who who travelled up from sort of Banbury way. One of them pointed to his mate, says, "Do you know who that guy is?" Because obviously I've done the YouTube channel and I've chat quite a lot on the Facebook groups and share a load of information. And I'm like, fucking hell, it's like someone's pointed me out to their mate and says, "Do you know who that guy is?" I wandered over there and put this big expression on and stood over them and went, "Do you know who I am?"
And they were talking about somebody else. Please say they were talking about somebody else.
They weren't talking about somebody else. They were talking about me, which is even better. But no, it was fucking ridiculous.
That's fun. I had someone come and talk to me at one of the tournaments for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And after he talked to me for 10 minutes, I was like, dude, I am so bad with my memory. When did we meet, or have we met? Have we played again at a tournament before? Because you look kind of familiar. And he's like, no, we've never met. I just watched you on the channel, the Blood Angels Commander. And I was like, right, dude, what's your name? Because you've been talking to me for like 10 minutes. And I got no idea who you are. But he knew me, right? Like, and it was like, you know, he's asking me things. And obviously, because he watched the channel, he knows everything that I've been talking about. But I was just like, do I know this guy?
Oh, hell yeah, Mike. We absolutely remember that. We still talk about that. That's good.
That was a very amusing movie.
Yeah,
Yes, and we met Mike at Warhammer World the first time. Was it the first time you and I had met, Mark?
I think it was, yeah. And it was like reopening after, or the first time it had opened after lockdowns and stuff had started. And
because we'd been kind of making videos and stuff. The three of us were making videos, but before we'd actually met physically.
Yeah.
We still haven't met John.
No, you still haven't met me. One day.
We keep threatening to come up there and visit, and we'll do it one day, but then Tony got a kid, and that kind of put paid to that for a little while.
Yeah. John was going to come down and see us, then he got a second one.
Yeah.
And then we were going to go up there and see him, and I got my first one.
It'll happen. It will happen.
Absolutely. One day.
Yeah. I would like to do it, actually. I don't know if it can happen this year, I don't think, but I think in the next couple of years we'll go up to Scotland. I think.
I was going to say, I think the next couple of years my kids will be old enough where I can leave them with the wife for a long weekend or something.
Yeah.
We'll have to just like stop saying we're going to do it and make plans to do it.
How long have we been making videos now for? What, 4 years?
Jeez.
I don't know, a while.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
You'd have to check.
How long has it been since?
So when was our first tier list?
Good God.
Would have been at the beginning of 9th edition, wouldn't it? That was the first video we made, was the tier list on the BAC.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Well, 9th edition was 5 years ago now, give or take.
Tier list.
Mike says if we run another tournament, he's going to make an effort to attend. Yeah, I mean, we just haven't done one this year because there's been a bunch of other local tournaments that we've been focusing on, but it's quite a lot of work running a tournament as well, man.
Yeah.
Even just silly things like organising the food, picking the map, getting the venue hired. It all adds up. Someone's got to do it, right? I wouldn't say I'm lazy in that sense, but if there's other tournaments in my city or very close by that are already doing it, I'm like, cool, I'll just go to your tournament.
Looks like the 9th ed tier list was January 2022 was the first episode in that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Playlist. Feels like longer.
Well, yeah, but it's because it took us a while to actually get it done and then get it out, didn't it?
Yeah,
because I'll tell you what it was. The first mission pack thing, or the first chapter approved.
Chapter approved 2022 is what it's labelled as and called. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were really excited to do it, and then it dropped and it was shit. And we'd already decided we were going to make a video together. And then we were like, what the hell do we do? And I can't remember why, but I've been watching a bunch of tier list videos on really random shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's make a tier list. And then we did that. And we had a lot of fun making it.
We did.
And then we
still like doing the tier lists.
Was it the tail end of 8th edition when we first started talking and
it would have been
stuff? Yeah.
That's when we first started chatting and things. Because we both used to watch John's channel, didn't we?
Yeah, with the Army List show and all that jazz.
And then we were convincing him to start a Discord on one of the streams or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
moderating Facebook.
We helped him set it up and moderate it. And that was that. Oh dear.
Got a lot of mileage behind you, John.
I know. Crazy.
Over 1,000 videos, YouTube says.
1,000 was the last one, I think. So I think it might be 1,000 precisely.
That's a lot of
20
videos.
20,600 subscribers.
I know. For a bland to start as commander.
2.9 million views.
Yeah, that's the one that always gets me excited, because when you think about those numbers, that's like unheard. That's like crazy, right?
We're not going to redo a tier list at this point. Not when fucking 11th edition is a year out. It'd be a bit of a waste of time, unfortunately.
We will probably do the bullshit in review tier list that we do each year.
But yeah, that's always a fun video.
And we've done that every year, I think, more or less.
Have we?
Like an end of year roundup video tier list.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me.
I quite like doing those. 'Cause I get to spend a bit of time just like trying to figure out the most mad shit that happened that year.
That's fair.
My back is sore again. Too much.
And then I don't tell you beforehand normally, and then we
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we just figure out what you're calling out this year as it goes along.
The most bullshit this year, I was going to say, has been the Silent King. God, I hate the Silent King. Necrons have Necrons have just been the boogeyman this edition again. Feels like.
really?
Yeah, that Star Shatter Arsenal is still winning tournaments every fucking week. It feels like. The last tournament I was at was won by Star Shatter again, so it was like the January one was won by Star Shatter, the June one was won by Star Shatter.
I don't know if it's because not many people around here play them. But I've never really had that many problems with Necron. See, down here, the meta as it is, especially with like little RTTs and things like that, it's not moved on. So I hear about some places moved away from the kind of toughness meta, but it's still big here. Is big toughness 10 stuff, lots of tanks, lots of guns. That's what you're going to play against. If I go to like a local game shop or local tournament or something like that, I know that I'm going to be facing a shitload of toughness 10 and up.
Yeah, it's the hyper. What's that Necron unit? Like the hyper crypt. Is it the hyper crypt, the giant one? You know what I'm talking about? The one that gets the Catan powers and everything.
Oh yeah.
Warhammer World is absolutely an experience that everyone who's a fan of Warhammer in any way, shape, or form, no matter how much you hate GW or whatever at the time, you should do Warhammer World once if you can possibly manage.
If you get the chance, it's good. You don't need more than a day. Don't fly around the world to spend a week at Warhammer World, because a day is plenty.
I mean, ultimately, it's a museum, which is really cool to walk around. A bunch of shops which sell you the same stuff you can get at mail order anyway, and Bugman's Bar, which is kind of cool. And
it's just been refurbished, isn't it? So I want to go and have a look, see what it's.
Do they still have the exclusive Land Raiders, or have they stopped doing that?
I think they've still got them. They've not been able to get rid of them all yet.
Why, do you want one?
No, I don't really care about it. I mean, the Land Raider Excelsior doesn't even have rules anymore, I don't think, right?
Well,
rules,
yeah, sure.
I think it had rules 9th edition. It would have had like Forge World Legends rules.
It's definitely got Legends rules, yeah.
But I've got one. I haven't built it, but I'm just going to run it as a regular Land Raider because it's not much different.
Yeah.
No, you suppose you could do that. That's true.
It's a regular Land Raider with a funny thing on top. It's not.
And a gun that looks like a grav cannon, but is definitely a twin link heavy bolter. Honest.
Yeah. I don't think it really makes much difference these days with stuff like that. It's the same silhouette, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I need to go in like 5-10 minutes, guys.
Yeah, I think
it's fair. It's getting late. We've been on here for 2.5 hours at this point.
We have, and if I paint any more trim, I'm going to
hit something. Scream. Yeah, fair.
Open up an OnlyFans.
Which again, we haven't set the OnlyFans up, so
I think he's doing that anyway.
What?
He's committed. Yeah, I think you're committed now, and I think if someone, since it was your idea, I think you're the one that has to take the top off.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that, believe me. I don't even want to see that. You know what I mean? Whoa! Put that away. It's a mirror. Doesn't matter. No mirrors allowed.
That's why you're not on camera today, is it?
That's why I'm not
I
on camera
see.
today. Actually, it's because I've got this setup done. And although I know that I keep drifting out of focus, but the actual camera is a lot bigger than it looks.
Mhm.
The screen is just cut down for this, and I've got the filming, so I'm actually filming footage for this video while we're talking.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll
It
only
just-
do snippets of this because
No,
Yeah,
that's
of course
fine.
you will.
nobody wants to see me paint
Or
the black trim.
highly
on
sped
the
up.
room.
Those limited edition Land Raiders are expensive. So if I like bought a couple and took them to Vegas with me, then would that be in any way, shape, or form a worthwhile thing to do? Probably not. They're very big and bulky. Carrying them on the plane
It's a
might be a
big
bit of a whack.
box.
Yeah, you need to check a bag for sure, I guess.
It is a big box. I'm not going to paint any more then. But I will get my Land Raider Excelsior down off the shelf behind me
Yeah.
and try and get it on frame for just how big this box is.
Cool.
I've
Shall
got
we
that-
wrap it up there for now, then, gentlemen?
hang on, I'm
Oh,
getting-
you're getting it down now. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let him show his Land Raider off, the big one, and then we'll wrap it up.
Woohoo!
I don't think I've been to Warhammer World since before.
I don't think you've been south of the border for a while, have you?
I went to a wedding, but that was like one day with a family, if that makes sense.
Okay.
a big box.
Yeah.
Good deal though. Like 80 quid.
But it doesn't cost 80 quid anymore.
No, it's
When
probably
did you
like
get that?
110.
I don't think it's gone up by much. It was much cheaper than buying a Land Raider and Rhino separately.
Hmm.
But much cheaper. And if you just didn't add the extra random gubbins on it, you would
Then
just
you
have a
could
Land
save some
Raider and a
money.
Rhino.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's a cool Rhino, but yeah, there's no rules for them anymore. I don't know if I can't even get it on frame. I'll try and zoom out a bit on the
The
camera.
whole thing? Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah.
That's about the best I'm going to get.
Most
It's a
of it.
cool box as well.
It is.
Exclusive
Just
transfer.
I don't- But look at that. That's the old third edition logo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's been around for like 10, 15
It's
years.
been
at
around
this
a
point.
while. I don't know. What does it say on the box? Hang on. It's definitely not been around since third edition, but
If John ever makes it south of the border again, and we're planning a Warhammer World trip with all three of us, we will absolutely tell people that it's happening.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I will. 100%.
2016 is a copyright on the box.
Wow.
It's not that long.
I thought it would have been older.
That's what, 9 years, mate.
Yeah, it is. Don't know if it make you feel old, doesn't it?
Does.
True. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed our random.
Rambling
Cool
stuff.
nonsense.
We'll think
Yeah.
about what to actually do next episode between now and then, and come up
Yeah,
with
nobody
something
wants to see me do more trim.
that is not OnlyFans related. Yeah.
I really want to start an OnlyFans channel, right? And then have it like a 24-hour live stream. And then all that it is a live stream of some fans. Like, you know, like those old kind of classic movie ones. You know, the ones that sort of spin really slowly.
Yeah.
And there's just a variety of fans in the live stream just blowing.
That would be
24 hours
quality.
live.
And just ask people to pay $100 because
And they can just
Because
watch
it's-
the fans spinning.
it's funny.
It's like, that's
Tony,
it. What's the
Tony.
channel? That's only fans.
Tony,
Just fans.
Tony, I love you. Shut up.
You're just worried because you've had that idea as well, and you thought you were going to make a killing off it, and now it's taking out of the bag.
Oh, I've got
Yeah,
so many
yeah.
assault intercessors on this
You
table.
got
I
me.
can't even.
You got me.
Oh.
That's fine.
All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Cheers, all.
Have a
good
good
night.
evening, guys.
And take
Bye-bye.
care.
Or day, or whatever time of day it is. I don't know.